Chapter 1086. The difficulty of the fifth floor increased by several times. This time, he would not only have to face a large number of enemies, but also a lot of unknown dangers. Apart from that, one could not fly on the fifth floor, and could only rely on walking. Although life and death realm warriors could walk quite fast, it would still cause a lot of trouble. Too many. The whole planet is filled with enemies, and I still have to collect all 12 meteorites. Even Yi Chen felt that the difficulty of the fifth floor was quite tricky. Under the circumstances where no one could fly, it was impossible for him to be besieged. However, due to the sheer number of enemies covering the entire planet, he would either have to flee or fight. This was a great test of one's will, which was an indispensable part of survival. Shoo! In the dense forest, a cone-shaped fire thunder shot toward Yi Chen's head. It was a sharp arrow, and the one who shot it was a Yakshaw archer. In front of the archer, there were 7 or 8 demon kings and Yakshaw kings chasing after Yi Chen. The distance between the two sides was about 1,000 li due to the rules. The range of soul power was very small on the fifth floor, and the destructive power was also very small. If one wanted to notice something far away, they could only rely on their eyesight. Therefore, a long-range arrow attack would be very fatal. Yi Chen twisted his body, dodging the arrow. When he completed his 360-degree turn, Yi Chen's sword chi also shot out, following the arrow's trajectory and attacking the source. Pooh! That Yakshaw archer's head was hit by the sword chi and exploded, but he did not die. However, it was enough. The destructive sword intent had already invaded his body, and could not be expelled in a short period of time. In Yi Chen's eyes, he was no different from a target. Right now, he had to deal with 4 demon kings and 3 Yakshaw kings. The demon kings and Yakshaw kings' speed was very fast, and they could cover 1,000 li in a couple of breaths. But suddenly, they lost one member, and then another. In the blink of an eye, 4 demon kings and 3 Yakshaw kings were annihilated. What had killed them was not Yi Chen, but a kind of black golden huge flower. Their roots seemed to be only a few hundred meters long, but they could stretch for hundreds of miles. When those huge flowers bloomed, the inside was filled with spiral-shaped saw teeth, which were immeasurably deep. These saw teeth obviously contained a deadly poison that could enchant the souls of life and death realm warriors, killing them as they pleased. Universe variant plant Emperor flower seedling. Monarch flowers were the apex predators at the top of the pyramid of plants. When they were still in the seedling stage, they could already hunt down kings below the 7th sky of life and death realm. Once they matured, even titled monarchs would have to keep their distance. Under normal circumstances, a mature monarch flower could absorb the nutrients of an entire planet. When the planet's nutrients were exhausted, the monarch flower would drive the planet's outer shell to wander in the universe and hunt. The 5th floor of the survival tower actually has an imperial flower seedling. Yi Chen frowned. If he encountered an imperial flower seedling, it would be very dangerous for him. He would not be able to take it head-on, so he could only dodge. Yi Chen did not have the time to kill the archer, so he rushed toward the place where the meteor chi was coming from. The first one. Soon, Yi Chen found the first meteorite, and there were 11 left. The 7th one. The 9th one. The 11th one. Only the last one left. In the blink of an eye, Yi Chen had stayed in the 5th floor for a month. During this month, he had been hunted down 823 times. He had killed 248 enemies, and had been injured more than 100 times. 60 of those injuries were not caused by enemies, but by the unknown dangers of this planet. Imperial flower seedling, king-eating grass, bloodplane, white bone path. They are all on the 5th floor, but the difficulty of the 5th floor is several times higher than the 5th floor of the God of War Tower. It is almost the same as the 6th floor of the God of War Tower. I wonder what kind of dangers await me at the end. Yi Chen did not dare to be careless. His nerves were stretched taut. During this month, he had not rested at all. He was sure that if he relaxed even a little bit, the consequences would be unimaginable. The aura of the 12th meteorite. This planet was not small, having a diameter of 10 million li based on the size of a meteorite. The range of its aura was uncertain. Even from 10,000 li away, Yi Chen could sense the aura emitted by the 12th meteorite. Taking a deep breath, Yi Chen quietly entered the forest, heading towards the source of the meteorite's aura. After a meal, Yi Chen stopped. Using his vision, Yi Chen saw a barren land a few hundred miles away. In the middle of the empty land, a 10-meter blue meteorite crystal had fallen. It was a meteorite. However, there was an imperial flower seedling hidden in the forest near the meteorite. This imperial flower seedling had changed color, so much so that it had blended in with its surroundings. If not for Yi Chen's strong vision, he would not have been able to see through it. If he was not careful, he might be eaten alive by the imperial flower seedling. This place is a few hundred miles away from the meteorite. Before I reach it, I might be eaten by the imperial flower seedling. It seems that I have to attract some enemies so that I can deceive them. After making up his mind, Yi Chen retreated. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. One sharp arrow after another shot out, chasing after Yi Chen, who was still running. There are a total of 18 enemies. They should be able to buy me some time. If not, I'll have to fight. There were 18 enemies behind Yi Chen. Among them, 3 were Yaksha archers, 2 were demon archers, and the other 13 were demon kings, 4 Yaksha kings, and 5 evil kings. It was a very powerful team. Soon, Yi Chen was less than 500 miles away from the meteorite. This distance was within the attack range of the imperial flower seedling. However, it was obvious that the imperial flower seedling was quite intelligent. It did not attack immediately. It would wait for everyone to be within its attack range before attacking. 400 miles. 300 miles. 200 miles. 100 miles. When Yi Chen was less than 50 miles away from the meteorite, the imperial flower seedling attacked. It first attacked the 5 archers at the back. 5 flower buds shot out in the shape of a shuttle. When they approached the 5 archers, they suddenly opened and swallowed them. After chewing for a while, they were completely digested. Got it. By now, Yi Chen had already obtained the meteorite. Looking back, there were only 3 enemies left. In a short period of time, the imperial flower seedling had attacked 3 times, and each time it ate 5 enemies. Run. Without any other thoughts, Yi Chen exerted force with his feet, causing the ground to collapse. He ran at his maximum speed. Hiss. An ear-piercing sound came. Yi Chen almost instinctively rolled to the right. Rumble. A large piece of soil disappeared. The imperial flower seedling's attack had failed. Hiss. 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 This time, there were 5 ear-piercing sounds. Obviously, all the enemies had been killed. The imperial flower seedling had put all of its energy on Yi Chen. Split sword domain, slow down. Yi Chen released his sword domain, which slowed down the imperial flower seedling's attack speed. However, Yi Chen's speed didn't slow down, but increased instead. Finally, Yi Chen was 500 miles away. What? The attack range is over 500 miles? The ear-piercing sound came from behind him, faster than any of the previous times. Even the split sword domain couldn't stop it. It seemed like the power contained in it had surpassed the limit of the split sword domain. Clang. The dragon spring sword automatically flew out of its sheath, turned into 100 sword shadows, and shot out. 100 sword shadows. Clang. 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 Sparks flew everywhere. The 100 sword shadows blocked the imperial flower seedling for a second. Seizing this opportunity, Yi Chen moved sideways. Bang! The ground on his right cracked, and a large piece of it disappeared. So close. The imperial flower seedling only stopped its attack after escaping for 1,000 miles. Putting away the dragon spring sword, Yi Chen turned around and realized something. It seemed like the imperial flower seedling had 5 flower buds, and one of them was the most powerful one. Its attack range had reached 1,000 miles. It was said that the number of flower buds it had represented its cultivation. 5 flower buds were equivalent to the 5th sky of life and death realm. However, a 5th sky imperial flower seedling was much more powerful than most 6th sky life and death realm kings. 12-star meteorites are in my hands. I should be more careful from now on. I can't be careless. After spending half a day, Yi Chen arrived at a tall mountain, and a beam of light shrouded him. Past the 5th floor of Survival Tower. Reward, 600 Shunbi. Primary badge upgraded to intermediate badge. A voice came down from the sky. Reaching the 5th floor of the God of War Tower, which was the 4th floor, would upgrade one's badge to a primary badge. Reaching the 7th floor, which was the 6th floor, would upgrade it to an intermediate badge. The Survival Tower would also have one floor less. As long as one could reach the 3rd floor and the 4th floor, one would be able to upgrade it to a primary badge. After reaching the 5th floor and the 6th floor, one would be able to upgrade it to an intermediate badge. However, it was different from 1 year ago. 1 year ago, as long as Yi Chen reached the 4th floor, he would have to enter the hunting tower once in 3 months. But now, although Yi Chen's badge had been upgraded to an intermediate badge, he still had to go through 3 hunts in the 1st or 2nd floor of the hunting tower. Not only the 1st and 2nd floor, but also the 3rd and 4th floor required 3 hunts. In other words, even if one had the strength of a senior member, he would still have to complete 6 hunts in the 1st to 4th floor. Of course, this kind of situation rarely happened. Most people only had to go through 1 floor at a time, but Yi Chen had gone through several floors at once. On the 6th floor of the Survival Tower, Yi Chen had only stayed for 3 days before he was eliminated. The difficulty here had already surpassed the 6th floor of the God of War Tower. Even Yi Chen couldn't pass it. What Yi Chen didn't know was that as he passed through the God of War Tower and Survival Tower, his ranking in the 1st floor of the Hunting Tower kept rising. When he reached the 6th floor of the Survival Tower, he was already ranked 1st. The Fei Ling team leader, Huang Hengfei, was ranked 3rd below him. And behind his name, there was the words intermediate member. What? He became an intermediate member in one go? This Yi Chen newbie is too crazy. We must find a way to get him to join our battle team. Although he's already a mid-ranked member, he still needs to complete 3 hunts on the 1st and 2nd floor of the hunting tower. With his strength, he'll definitely be able to lead us to an overwhelming victory and earn more Shunbi. Chapter 1087. 1 to 10, 10 to 100. The news of Yi Chen becoming a mid-rank member soon spread throughout the whole God Paradise. My bad. If I had known that he would improve so quickly, I would have communicated with him earlier. With him joining our Fei Ling team, we would be able to dominate the 2nd level of the hunting battlefield. We would be able to earn multiple divine coins in one go. After receiving the news, Huang Hengfei frowned. In terms of combat power, Yi Chen might not be stronger than him. They were both at the 6th level of the God of War Pagoda. However, in terms of survivability, Huang Hengfei was much weaker than Yi Chen. Strong survivability meant that Yi Chen could adapt to any environment. The hunting battlefield was no exception. Unlike some people who made mistakes the first time they entered the hunting battlefield and couldn't adapt to the environment in a short time. This was also why the 1st level of the hunting tower existed. The 2nd level of the hunting tower was for teams to hunt, while the 1st level was for individuals to hunt. Under normal circumstances, a new member wouldn't be accepted by a team. They had to survive a few times on the 1st level of the hunting tower before being accepted by a team. Of course, a monster like Yi Chen was an exception. Time is of the essence. If I miss this opportunity, there won't be another one. After making up his mind, Huang Hengfei decided to recruit Yi Chen even if he had to pay a price. With such a strong person's help, they would definitely be able to earn more divine coins. With divine coins, his strength could continue to improve. Perhaps he could even reach the 7th level of the God of War Pagoda within a year and become a mid-level member of the Paradise of Gods. What? You're saying that Yi Chen became a mid-level member in a year? In the Paradise of Gods, there was a hotel. In this hotel, one only needed to pay 1 Shunbi to enjoy the finest wine. On the 2nd floor of the hotel, 5 young men sat together, led by a valiant and formidable-looking woman. This was a mid-level team, and the leader was this woman. Her name was Huang Fu Yu. She was very strong and had already reached the 8th level of the God of War Pagoda. She was only 1 level away from becoming a high-level member. She seemed to be in disbelief when she heard that Yi Chen had become a mid-level member. The young man nodded and said, "That's right. I didn't believe it at first, but I purposely went to the hunting pagoda and found that he was ranked first on the hunting pagoda's primary member information screen. His current strength is at the 6th level of the God of War pagoda and the 6th level of the survival pagoda. Amazing, becoming an intermediate member in just 1 year. This is something that has never happened in the paradise of gods for tens of thousands of years. This means that his potential is very great, and he is constantly improving. Although he needs to complete 3 primary hunts, we have to act early. After he completes the 3 hunts, let him join our team. Captain, although his potential is astonishing, his strength is still very weak compared to an intermediate member. Will adding him drag us down?" A young man voiced his opinion. "What do you know? This is called striking first gains the upper hand. When he's stronger than us, it won't be us choosing him, but him choosing us. So, although he's still very weak now, once he grows up, he'll become our team's trump card. Moreover, his survivability isn't any weaker than yours, so he might not drag us down." "That's true. This person's survivability is too strong. He actually made it to the 6th level of the survival pagoda. In the team, apart from the captain, Huang Fu Yu, and the vice-captain, the others were all at the 7th level of the God of War pagoda, 1 level higher than Yi Chen. As for the 6th level of the survival pagoda, they were the same as Yi Chen. Yi Chen, congratulations. I didn't expect you to become an intermediate member so soon. It had been a few days since Yi Chen had made it to the 6th level of the survival pagoda. These days, Yi Chen didn't cultivate immediately. Instead, he took some time to relax. A martial artist's cultivation was all about relaxation and tension. If one was too impatient, they would lose their freedom and turn themselves into a martial artist's puppet. In the hotel, this year's newcomers gathered for a drink. Of course, Yi Chen treated them. Each person received 10 bottles of supreme-grade wine. Anyway, he had 1,400 shunbi now, and 1 shunbi was enough to buy many supreme-grade wines. It's nothing. As long as you work hard, you can also become a primary member very quickly and earn more shunbi. Yi Chen took a sip of wine and said, "It's difficult. Our talents are only above average in the paradise of gods. If we want to become a primary member, it will take at least 5 years. Only Lung Feifen, our Jew, and you have more potential." The one who spoke was Lu Wenxiu. "Well, 5 years is still too little. But we are not in a hurry. To us, becoming a primary member too early is not a good thing. In the hunting battlefield, the weak will only become prey. What we need to do is to build a solid foundation." Xiao Xiu nodded. Zhu Jian was also at the table. He didn't dislike Yi Chen as much anymore. After coming to the paradise of gods, he realized that there were so many geniuses in the universe. There would always be someone better than you. Comparing yourself with others would only bring trouble to yourself. Comparing yourself was the source of continuous improvement. As long as they could surpass their past selves, one day, they would all be at the forefront. As for comparing himself with Yi Chen, it was simply asking for a beating. A year ago, Yi Chen had already reached the 4th level of the God of War pagoda. A year later, Yi Chen had already reached the 6th level. This speed of improvement was simply shocking. Zhu Jian had only barely reached the 3rd level of the God of War pagoda. He was far behind even Yi Chen from a year ago. Not to mention Yi Chen, even Arju and Lung Feifen were not people he could easily catch up with. Arju had already reached the 4th level of the God of War pagoda half a year ago. He would probably reach the 5th level in less than a year and become a primary member of the paradise of gods. Lung Feifen had reached the 4th level 3 months ago. In 2 years, he would almost become a primary member. "Yi Chen, you go first now. But my martial phantom is about to break through. Then, let's compete again." Arju's martial phantom could produce 3 phantoms, but in the past year, he had made great progress in his spear Dao. When his spear Dao was formed, he would be able to produce 4 phantoms. Together with his real body, he would have 5 times the battle power. "Okay." Yi Chen smiled. After drinking for a while, more and more people came to the hotel. "Yi Chen, I wonder if you can come over for a chat." Huang Hengfei walked over. Yi Chen nodded and said to Ju and the rest, "You guys stay here and drink. I'll go over for a while." "Okay, I didn't expect the Paradise of Gods to have all kinds of top-grade wine. It would be a waste not to drink." Yi Chen treated them, and they were very happy to drink. Following Huang Hengfei, Yi Chen came to another table. Apart from Huang Hengfei, there were 3 other people at the table, 2 men and 1 woman. A primary team could not have more than 5 people. Previously, the Flying Spirit team had lost 1 member and had yet to make up for it. If Yi Chen could join, there would be exactly 5 people. "Yi Chen, let me introduce you. This is the Flying Spirit team's deputy leader, Lin Xiaofeng. He is at the 6th level of the God of War Pagoda. This is Wei Dong. Li Wei is at the 5th level of the God of War Pagoda. Everyone, this is Yi Chen. He has already reached the 6th level of the Survival Pagoda." Huang Hengfei introduced both sides. "It's an honor to meet you." The Flying Spirit team's deputy leader, Lin Xiaofeng, and the other 2 members stood up, their faces full of admiration. "It's just a temporary breakthrough," Yi Chen said. "All right, sit down." Huang Hengfei passed his top-grade wine to Yi Chen and said, "Yi Chen, I told you last time that you can consider joining the Flying Spirit team when you are qualified. What do you think?" "No problem." Yi Chen agreed without hesitation. If he had not reached the 6th level of the Survival Pagoda, he would have considered it more. However, he was already an intermediate member. After joining the Flying Spirit team, he could only participate in 3 hunts. Since there were only 3 hunts, there was no need to consider so much. The Flying Spirit team was indeed one of the top primary teams, and Huang Hengfei was ranked 3rd among the primary members. "Haha, you are indeed a straightforward person." Huang Hengfei was taken aback. He did not expect Yi Chen to agree so easily. Then, a joyful expression appeared on his face. With Yi Chen, their team would have 3 warriors at the 6th level of the God of War Pagoda. Adding Yi Chen's survivability, the overall strength of the Flying Spirit battle team would undoubtedly reach another level. Oh yes, what are the rewards for the 1st and 2nd levels of the Hunting Pagoda? The 1st and 2nd levels of the Hunting Pagoda were both primary hunting battlefields. Yi Chen wanted to ask what the difference was. Deputy leader Lin Xiaofeng said, "This is exactly what we wanted to talk to you about. The 1st level of the Hunting Pagoda is for individual hunts, and the 2nd level is for teams. If it was someone else, I might persuade them to hunt a few more times on the 1st level to adapt to the environment. But for you, I think it's better for you to hunt as a team. Because your survival ability is strong enough, you will definitely be able to adapt to the hunting battlefields. Staying on the 1st level will only waste time and energy." "That's right." Huang Hengfei nodded. On the 1st level, killing a primary member of another paradise is only rewarded with 100 shunbi. But on the 2nd level, killing a primary member of another paradise is rewarded with 1000 shunbi. Although not all of the 1000 shunbi belongs to you, according to your contribution, you will definitely get more than the 1st level. For example, if it is divided equally, each person will get 200 shunbi. In addition, there is also a team reward, which is 10% of the total harvest. That is to say, if our Flying Spirit team gets 1000 shunbi, the team reward will be 100 shunbi. After listening to their explanation, Yi Chen more or less understood the rules of the Hunting Pagoda. Not to mention individual hunts, all the shunbi obtained would belong to them. But when hunting in a team, the shunbi would be divided according to the individual's contribution. The ratio was very simple. There were 5 people in a primary hunting team. If one's contribution was 1%, then one would get 1%. If one's contribution was 2%, then it would be 40%. 1% was the average, which meant that one's contribution was the most average. If it was more than 1%, it meant that one's contribution was more. If it was less than 1%, it meant that one's contribution was less. The total contribution of the team was 5. Chapter 1088. Our Flying Spirit Squad is one of the best beginner squads. On average, we can kill one beginner member of another playground every time we hunt. Including the squad rewards and other rewards, the total income from a single hunt is about 2,000 shunbi. Even if we divide it equally among 5 people, each person will get 400 shunbi. Since we hunt once every 3 months, we can hunt 4 times a year. In other words, each person can earn 1,500 shunbi a year. As for ordinary beginner squads, it's already not bad if each person can earn 400 shunbi a year. Including you, it's possible for each person to earn more than 2,000 shunbi a year. Huang Hengfei continued. Vice Captain Lin Xiaofeng laughed. Captain, you forgot to mention one thing. If you can annihilate the other team in the hunting battlefield, you'll get double the amount of shunbi. A team of 5 people would get 5,000 shunbi. Double the amount would be 20,000 shunbi. Adding on the rewards, it's really amazing. We'll be rich in one go. Annihilate the enemy team, double the amount of shunbi. Yi Chen showed a trace of surprise. Yes, but... Huang Hengfei smiled bitterly. It is very difficult to annihilate the enemy team. I have been in the paradise of gods for dozens of years, and the most I have ever killed was 3 members of an enemy team. Of course, it is not that there is no such thing, but it is very, very rare. Joining a team was very simple. One only needed to activate the light screen of the badge, then search for a team, find the Flying Spirit Battle Team, and click to join. The badge of the Paradise Battle Team contained a person's soul imprint. A team is equivalent to 5 people's soul imprints linked together. After joining a team, no matter how far away you are, you can contact your team members, and you can also easily find the location of your team members through the light screen of the badge. Now the light screen of Yi Chen's badge showed team, Flying Spirit Battle Team identity, member team size, 5 hunting count, none hunting achievement, none number of shunbi, 1,389 inch haha, from now on, we are a team. I hope we can win the first hunt. Cheers. Huang Hengfei raised his glass and drank it in one gulp. Yi Chen and the other 3 also drank the wine in their glasses. After 3 rounds of drinking, a clear voice sounded. You are Yi Chen. I'm Huang Fu Yu, the captain of the Frost Battle Team. It's an honor to meet you. A valiant and formidable-looking young woman walked over. She wore an ice blue tight-fitting robe, and her hair was coiled up with a hairpin. At the end of the hairpin hung a small crystal. I'm Yi Chen. What's the matter? Yi Chen stood up. I would like to invite you to join the Frost Battle Team. Of course, after you have completed 3 beginner hunts. Huang Fu Yu smiled. Yi Chen, the Ice Frost Battle Team is ranked 4th among the mid-level teams. Their captain, Huang Fu Yu, has already reached the 8th level of the God of War Pagoda and the 7th level of the Survival Tower. Their vice-captain has also reached the same level. I think you should consider it. As for the top 3 mid-level teams, although they are slightly stronger than the Ice Frost Battle Team, they are all full members. Only the Ice Frost Battle Team is missing 1 member. If you decline now, it will probably be difficult to join them in the future. Huang Hengfei whispered to Yi Chen. Yi Chen nodded slightly. Indeed, it was not easy to join a team. It also depended on whether the other team was full or not. If the other team was full, it would be impossible even if he wanted to join. After all, they would not kick someone because of him. This would make the other team members feel insecure. If there are no accidents, I will consider the Ice Frost Battle Team first, Yi Chen said. Good. That's good enough. Huang Fu Yu was very satisfied with this result. Although among the top 4 mid-level teams, only the Ice Frost Battle Team was missing 1 member, it did not mean that the other teams did not have any thoughts about Yi Chen. The hunting battlefield was extremely dangerous, and they could lose members at any time. The Ice Frost Battle Team was already very strong, but they still lost 1 member. Maybe after Yi Chen completed 3 beginner hunts, the top 4 mid-level teams would all be missing members. Therefore, she decided to strike first. If she struck later, Yi Chen would probably not consider the Ice Frost Battle Team first. These 10 bottles of ice and fire 9 heavens are for you. Huang Fu Yu waved her hand, and 10 bottles of wine appeared on the table in front of Yi Chen. She then turned and left. Ice and fire 9 heavens, good wine. This is a top-grade wine worth 10 shunbi per bottle. 10 bottles is 100 shunbi. Huang Hengfei's eyes widened. In the paradise of gods, one Shunbi could buy 10 bottles of top-grade low-grade wine. For example, when Yi Chen treated Arju and the others, it only cost him 11 Shunbi. But the ice and fire 9 heavens that Huang Fuyu gave to Yi Chen cost 10 Shunbi per bottle. 10 bottles were 100 Shunbi. This was not a small amount. Huang Hengfei could only earn a few hundred Shunbi every time he hunted, which was not even enough for himself. He had only drunk 1 bottle of ice and fire 9 heavens, which was too extravagant. Team member Li Wei said enviously, "Captain Huang Fuyu is indeed generous, but she is the captain of the Frost Battle Squad. She can probably earn 2,000 Shunbi in a single hunt, so 100 Shunbi is still within her budget." Team member Wei Dong said, "You can't say that. The higher one's strength, the harder it is to improve. Spending Shunbi is like flowing water. For example, 1 Shunbi can be used to cultivate for a day on the first floor of the martial skill tower, but 10 Shunbi for the second floor, and 100 Shunbi for the third floor. Other than that, the Tower of Time is also very expensive." "That's right. I guess only high-ranking members can afford ice and fire 9 heavens. They earn a ridiculous amount of Shunbi. Spending 100 Shunbi every month isn't a big deal, but it's hard to say if they spend more than that." Vice Captain Lin Xiaofeng nodded. Yi Chen opened the cork of the ice and fire 9 heavens bottle and took a sip. Immediately, his body felt cold at first, then hot. Ice and fire blended together, and all 48,000 pores on his body opened up. Every cell in his body seemed to have eaten a great tonic, wriggling crazily as they absorbed the wine's power. This ice and fire 9 heavens had the effect of tempering one's spirit body, although it wasn't very obvious. Moreover, with just 1 sip, Yi Chen felt a slight intoxicating taste. For a life and death king, this was an incredible feeling. Even 10 bottles of ordinary supreme rank wine wouldn't be enough to make one drunk. "You guys drink too." Yi Chen gave a bottle of ice and fire 9 heavens to Huang Hengfei and the other 3. "He, then we won't stand on ceremony." Huang Hengfei licked his lips. It had been a long time since he had tasted the ice and fire 9 heavens. Before leaving the hotel, Yi Chen and Huang Hengfei and the other 3 had agreed to enter the hunting tower to hunt in 2 months. Therefore, in the next 2 months, Yi Chen had to continue to increase his power in order to make sure nothing went wrong. Right now, Yi Chen had completed 4 profounds, which were the metal profound, water profound, fire profound, and earth profound. His next task was to complete the wood profound, thunder profound, and shadow profound. First was the wood profound. 1 week later, the wood profound was completed. 25 days later, the thunder profound was completed. There were only 4 days left before the 2 months, and the shadow profound was also completed. Yi Chen discovered that the more profounds one comprehended, the harder it was to complete the later ones. It seemed that a person's soul had a limit to what it could bear and could not bear too many profounds. For example, Arju and Lu Wenxiu, the 2 of them had a stronger soul force. Therefore, they had grasped 6 complete profounds respectively. Yi Chen's soul force was above theirs, but there were too many profounds involved. Other than the 7 complete profounds of metal, wood, water, fire, earth, thunder, and shadow, there was also the space profound, fast profound, and slow profound. One person had more than 10 profounds, especially the space profound, which was equivalent to several ordinary profounds. Of course, even so, Yi Chen's soul had not reached its limit. It was just that his comprehension had slowed down slightly. There were only 4 days left, and Yi Chen decided to be extravagant. He came to the 3rd floor of the martial skill tower. One had to pay 100 Shunbi a day, and of course, the beginner members only had to pay 90 Shunbi. This was a world of fire and water. Water surged violently, and flames soared to the sky. Water and fire collided, creating a boundless white mist. The white mist was like a white dragon, rolling and spiraling. Sword after sword attack, Yi Chen's comprehension was getting deeper and deeper. The 3rd floor of the martial skill tower was still the 3rd floor after all, and could not be compared to the 1st floor. The comprehension speed was 100 times faster than the 1st floor, and Yi Chen could feel a flash of inspiration at every second. Go! On the third day, Yi Chen swung his sword, and a scorching white dragon fiercely pounced out. Be it the waves of water or fire, they were all pierced by this white dragon, resulting in a heaven-shaking explosion. This white dragon looked like it was condensed from white mist, but it was actually a deeper transformation of the power of water and fire. It just looked like white mist on the outside. That's right, this move was the evolved version of Merciless Water and Fire. Merciless Water and Fire was the Fire Emperor's self-created martial art. With Yi Chen's current cultivation realm, he had far surpassed the Fire Emperor. In his opinion, the merciless water and fire created by the Fire Emperor had gone astray in many aspects, and it couldn't bring out the full potential of merciless water and fire. The more Yi Chen studied merciless water and fire, the more he felt restricted. For example, the Fire Emperor's merciless water and fire was a bottle that could only hold one bottle of water. But Yi Chen's foundation wasn't just a bottle of water. No matter how hard he tried, he wouldn't be able to bring out his foundation. Therefore, Yi Chen simply used merciless water and fire as the foundation to create his own water and fire profound sword art. This sword art was still in its embryonic form, but it already surpassed merciless water and fire in might. I'll call you White Dragon Annihilation. White Dragon Annihilation used merciless water and fire as the foundation, and destruction sword intent as the essence. Its purpose was to destroy, and destroy everything in front of it. Why isn't Yi Chen here yet? Outside the hunting tower, Li Wei looked at the sun in the paradise of gods and asked. Wait a little longer, he should be here soon. Huang Hengfei said. After a cup of tea's time, Huang Hengfei revealed a smile, he's here. Sorry to have kept you guys waiting. Not far away, Yi Chen walked over. He was immersed in comprehending White Dragon Annihilation and almost forgot about the time. No rush. Since you're here, let's go in. All right. The group of 5 entered the hunting tower. The smallest of them was the size of a calf, while the largest was the size of a small mountain. Each of their bodies contained an astonishing amount of energy. This energy was so strong that it was like a star. Not good. It's a godworm. Li Wei was shocked. The insects in the hunting battlefield were god insects. It was said that god insects were creatures modified by true gods. The power of true gods could turn a deer into a horse and turn stone into gold. Modifying ordinary insects into god insects was as easy as lifting one's hand. Modified god insects were no longer ordinary insects. Their intelligence was not high, but they possessed frightening battle power. Moreover, they could devour the flesh and essence of life and death kings and evolve themselves without any need for cultivation. There are more than 10 godworms here. We're not a match for them. Run. Huang Hengfei made a prompt decision and gave the order to escape. We can't run. There are a few behind us. Just as Wei Yidong turned around, he saw several vicious godworms flying in his direction. The fastest was a locust-shaped godworm. With a flap of its wings, it instantly appeared in front of Wei Yidong and slashed with its sickle-like claws. Fortunately, Wei Yidong's reaction was fast enough. He raised his long blade and blocked the claw. However, he was blasted away, his body flickering chaotically. Kill our way out. Huang Hengfei's strength was the strongest. His weapon was a huge iron hammer. With a swing of the hammer, thunder rumbled. The locust's body was blown away, but it didn't die. Such a powerful defense. Yi Chen was astonished. These godworms were not only fast, but their defense was also ridiculously powerful. Moreover, they had a shocking wild instinct that seemed to be able to see through weaknesses. All of a sudden, all the godworms pounced toward the 5. How unlucky. If we don't pay a price this time, we won't be able to escape. A bitter smile appeared on Huang Hengfei's face. In the battlefield of hunting, the chances of encountering more than 10 godworms at once were very low. Most of the time, there would be 1 or 2, or even 5 or 6. Only at the edge of the godworms' nests would one encounter more than 10. Let's see if I can restrain them. As he spoke, Yi Chen's aura surged, and he unleashed his sword domain. Bzzz. Heaven and earth went still, and the incoming godworms slowed down by 1,000 times, as if they were moving in slow motion. What's going on? How come they're so slow? They're so slow. I can attack them dozens of times in an instant. Huang Hengfei's group of 4 was still in a daze. These godworms were terrifying not only because of their powerful defenses, but also because of their incredible speed. Yi Chen, your sword domain actually contains the power of stopping space? Huang Hengfei finally reacted. I can't believe it. He looked at Yi Chen. Yi Chen said, there's no time to lose. Hurry up and attack them. The sword domain's effect was even better than he had imagined. Although these godworms possessed shocking power, they didn't have a domain. For example, in the divine trial field, if Arju hadn't had a domain, Yi Chen could have used his sword domain to crush him without any effort. Having a domain was very important. Only with a domain equivalent to Yi Chen's could one use it to counteract the power of stopping space. After all, stopping space had its limits. Great. Everyone, hurry up and kill these godworms. Huang Hengfei was pleasantly surprised. He hadn't expected Yi Chen to be proficient in the profound of space, which was known as one of the most powerful profounds for a reason. It could adapt to almost any environment. In the past, when they encountered so many godworms, they wouldn't even think of fighting. It wasn't just because the godworms were powerful, but also because the reward for killing them wasn't much. One godworm was only worth 10 shunbi, and killing a few wouldn't be worth more than a few dozen shunbi. It wasn't worth it. But now that they had the power of stopping space, they could kill as many as they wanted. After all, a single godworm wasn't worth much, but a dozen or so. If they killed 100, it would be worth 1,000 shunbi, which was equivalent to killing a member of another paradise. Haha, I killed one. I killed one too. Although the godworm's defenses were powerful, they couldn't withstand countless attacks. Gradually, they died one by one, unable to resist. Chapter 1090. In a short while, all 19 godworms had been killed, and the Flying Spirit Battle Squad's total income had risen to 190 shunbi. In the hunting battlefield, regardless of whether it was an individual kill or a team kill, the shunbi obtained would be considered as the total income. For the time being, they wouldn't be able to get a share of it. Only after they left the hunting battlefield would they be able to get their share of shunbi based on their contributions. Yi Chen looked at his own contribution. It was as high as 40, and his total contribution was 50. Such a high contribution was understandable. After all, without Yi Chen's split sword domain, there was no way for them to contend against 19 godworms. They could only run away. Of course, this was only temporary, and it would gradually decrease. After all, Yi Chen couldn't maintain such a high contribution forever. The second highest contribution was Huang Hengfei and Lin Xiaofeng, both 3. Wei Yidong and Li Weiyi were 2. Although the 4 of them did not put in much effort, according to the ratio, Huang Hengfei and Li Xiaofeng would each get 11 shunbi, while Wei Yidong and Li Weiyi would get 7 or 8 shunbi each. This was free money, so it could be considered as extra income. A bottle of ice and fire 9-layered heavens was earned. In the past, we would only get 1 or 200 shunbi each time we hunted. Now that we have the power of space freeze, we can kill as many as we want. Huang Hengfei and the others believed that their luck had come, and the key to this luck was Yi Chen. There were many godworms in the hunting battlefield. After 3 days, the 5 of them encountered 9 batches of godworms. However, these 9 batches only had 7 godworms at most, far from being comparable to the first batch they encountered. Still, the 9 batches added up to 35 godworms, which was equivalent to 350 shunbi. Adding the initial 190 godworms, they had a total of 540 godworms. This was definitely a considerable amount of income. The Devil Spear Battle Squad is within 100 million li of us. The Paradise badge on the back of Huang Hengfei's hand suddenly flashed a frightening red. It turned out that there was a revenge mode in the hunting battlefield. When a member of your team was killed by another team, the Paradise badge would remind you when the enemy team was within 100 million li of you. Of course, it was limited to 1 time. If you failed this time, the Paradise Badge wouldn't remind you next time. How strong is the Devil Spear Battle Squad? Yi Chen asked. Lin Xiaofeng said in a low voice, very, very strong. Last time, the Devil Spear Battle team only had 3 people. It seems that before this, they lost 2 people. But with just 3 people, they were able to suppress our Flying Spirit Battle team. In the end, they even killed one of our team members. If it weren't for a group of godworms being attracted to us at the critical moment, we wouldn't have had a chance to escape. So strong. Yi Chen raised his eyebrows. The Flying Spirit Battle team was already one of the top teams among the beginner teams. This Devil Spear Battle team was also a beginner team, but they could actually suppress the Flying Spirit Battle team with just 3 people. They are indeed very strong. None of the 3 members of the Magic Spear Squad who are fighting against us are weaker than me, and the captain of the Magic Spear Squad is even stronger than me. Damn it, they must have replenished their members this time. We don't have the slightest chance to take revenge. Huang Hengfei clenched his teeth, but there was nothing he could do. It's not like we don't have a chance. We can take them down one by one. Yi Chen said in a low voice. It's too dangerous. Although I really want to take revenge, it is not the time yet. Huang Hengfei thought for a moment and decided not to attack the Magic Spear Squad first. It was not that he was afraid of the Magic Spear Squad, but if he fought with them, they would definitely suffer heavy casualties. Wei Yidong and Li Wei, who were slightly weaker, might fall. No worries, let me see where they are first. Coming to the hunting battlefield, they naturally had to hunt the enemies. There was no reason for Yi Chen to retreat. His forehead cracked open, and a silver vertical eye appeared. Yi Chen scanned the surroundings with his soul eye. Everything within 100 million li was within his range. Soul eye. Huang Hengfei and the other 3 were shocked. The soul eye was one of the most frightening special abilities. Although it could not increase a martial artist's power, it could allow them to have an unimaginable observation power. Even if a normal life and death realm king trained a secret soul art, their soul sensing range would only be a few 100,000 li, or even a few million li. However, the observation range of the soul eye could reach up to 100 million li. At the speed of light, it would still take half an hour to travel 100 million li. Found them. Within the range of the soul eye, Yi Chen saw 5 people. These 5 people were emitting a frightening demonic power fluctuation, and none of them was weaker than Huang Hengfei. 2 of them seemed to be even stronger than Huang Hengfei. On the back of their hands were black demonic god marks, which seemed to be the insignia of the demonic god paradise. Is it them? Yi Chen waved his hand, and a light screen appeared in the void, showing the figures of 5 people. Yes, it is them. Lin Xiaofeng recognized them at a glance. Indeed, they have already replenished their team. 3 people are already so hard to deal with, but 5 people, our chances are very slim. Huang Hengfei clenched his fists. Yi Chen thought for a while and said, they will definitely encounter other teams. While they are fighting with other teams, we can quickly rush over and join hands with that team to destroy the Demon Spear Squad. I don't think they will reject such a good opportunity. In the hunting battlefield, everyone was both a hunter and a prey. It was common for hunters to join hands with other hunters, and it was normal for a team to be annihilated. This idea is not bad. Alright, if I don't take revenge, I will never feel happy. Whether we can succeed or not depends on this. Xiaofeng, Wei Yidong, Li Wei, what do you think? Huang Hengfei looked at Lin Xiaofeng and the other 2. Naturally, we will take revenge. Lin Xiaofeng's eyes were cold. Wei Yidong and Li Wei also nodded, each of them looking serious. On an emerald green planet, 5 young people appeared. These 5 people were all demons, and the demonic power on their bodies was more tyrannical than pure Jin Yuan, and it had a destructive power. One of the fat young people grinned and said, if it weren't for the god insect's attack last time, we would have definitely annihilated the Flying Spirit Squad. Moreover, there were only 3 of us last time, and this time there are 5. I just noticed that the Flying Spirit Squad has entered, but it won't be easy to meet them. Another young man with 2 horns on his head said slowly. The Flying Spirit Squad is nothing to worry about. It would be best if we meet them, and we will send them to heaven. It doesn't matter if we don't meet them. Among the 24 teams, except for a few relatively strong ones, the other teams will only have a dead end if they meet us. Eagle Eye, it is time for you to show off again. Among the team, the burly demons with the most powerful aura glanced at the tall and thin demons beside him. The tall and thin demons were demons of the Eagle Demon bloodline, and they were the eyes of the Demon Spear Squad. They were born with a very strong observation ability. Once they used the Eagle Eye talent, they could observe things within 10 million miles without being easily detected. The hunting battlefield seemed to be boundless, but it actually had a limit. The Eagle Eye talent was like a fish in water, and it didn't consume a lot of energy. No problem. Eagle Eye nodded. He took a deep breath, and as his demonic power surged, a huge eagle head appeared behind him. The two eagle eyes were extremely sharp, as if they could see through space and time. 8 million miles away, there is a recently broken planet. It should be caused by a battle. Let's go there. After a long time, Eagle Eye scattered the eagle head phantom behind him. A recently broken planet? It must not have been gone for long. Let's go. The 5 people used their demonic power, and like 5 beams of light, they flew in that direction. These 5 people didn't know that behind them, there were 5 people following them, maintaining a distance of tens of millions of miles. That tall and skinny demon is the eagle-eyed Devil King. He has the innate talent of the eagle eyes, and his battle strength is not too strong, but it is about the same as Lin Xiaofeng, and that fat demon is very troublesome. He is called the Devouring Heaven Devil King. The fat on his body can offset most of the attacks, and the rest of the attacks will be directly swallowed by him, and then spit out to attack the enemy. His battle strength is even above the eagle-eyed Heavenly King. The most powerful is their captain, the tall and sturdy demon race stone statue Heavenly King. His protective magic power and physical defense are inconceivably strong. I exchanged dozens of moves with him, and was unable to break through his defense even once. As for the other 2, they are newcomers, I do not know. Huang Hengfei analyzed the Demon Spear Squad situation. When the time comes, leave the Stone Statue King to me. The 4 of you and the other team can deal with the 4 of them. There shouldn't be a problem, right? Yi Chen had created the White Dragon Annihilation and was looking for a powerful opponent to test it out. Without the Stone Statue King, we won't have a problem, but is the Stone Statue King that easy to deal with? Huang Hengfei looked at Yi Chen hesitantly. Don't worry. Unless he has the power of the 7th level of the God of War Pagoda, he can't do anything to me. In the past 2 months, Yi Chen had improved a lot. If he were to challenge the God of War Pagoda again, he had more than a 50% chance of passing the 6th level and reaching the 7th level. Alright, then be careful. Huang Hengfei did not know exactly how powerful Yi Chen was, but seeing how confident Yi Chen was, he could tell that it was not groundless. He could not help but nod. Leader, I found them. They are fighting with the 3 god bugs. They destroyed many planets along the way. The eagle-eyed Demon King's face lit up. Haha, looks like the hunting battlefield is also taking care of us. Let's get closer first and watch the tigers fight. After they kill all the god bugs, we will attack them in one go. The Stone Statue King laughed loudly. 1,000,000 miles away, 5 young people were fighting with the 3 god bugs. These 5 young people were not members of the Paradise of Gods, nor were they members of the Demon God Paradise. They were members of the Barbarian God Paradise. The Barbarian God was the true god of the barbarian race. Although there were barbarians in Elysium, they were actually hybrids with the blood of the barbarian race. Liu Tai, bad news. We have been targeted by another team. They are approaching us rapidly. They are less than 300,000 miles away from us. The big-headed barbarian young man said anxiously. What team is it? The young man called Liu Tai was a huge man. He was wrapped in chains and had a white bone necklace around his neck. He held a huge mace in his hand and looked very wild. It seems to be the Demon Spear Squad. Chapter 1091. Damn it, it's actually the Magic Spear Battle Team. The Devil Spear Battle Team was definitely a strong team in the primary hunting battlefield. The number of teams that were stronger than this team could be counted with a single hand. "Captain, what should we do?" The barbarians loved to fight, but they also knew the difference between them. "It's impossible to escape now. Kill the godworms with all your strength and fight the devil spear battle team." The sound of flowing iron was loud and clear. Hundreds of thousands of miles could be covered in just a breath's time. Running away would only cause them to die even more miserably. Boom! The 5 of them completely erupted with power and attacked the divine insect crazily. Berserk energy flew in all directions like a cosmic storm. It had to be said that when people were in desperate straits, the power they could unleash was extremely terrifying. Normally, when facing 3 divine insects, it would take them a long time to finish them off. But this time, it only took them a dozen or so breaths of time to kill them. As expected of the Iron Hammer battle team. You killed 3 godworms in such a short time. In the entire elementary hunting battlefield, your Iron Hammer battle team can rank at least in the top 15. A group of 5 people appeared in the line of sight of Liu Tai and the others. It was the Demon Spear battle team. The Devil Spear battle team wasn't in a hurry to attack. Otherwise, the Iron Hammer battle team wouldn't have had the time to kill the divine insects. If they ran at full speed, they would only need a single breath of time. "Heavenly Stone Statue King, what are you trying to do?" Liu Tai looked at the Heavenly Stone Statue King with a solemn expression. "What do you think we're trying to do?" The Heavenly Stone Statue laughed malevolently. When Liu Tai heard this, he knew that today would not be good, and shouted angrily, "Your Devil Spear Squad, don't be too arrogant. Although our Iron Hammer Squad is not as good as yours, but we are not fish on the chopping block. You can kill us at will. If you want to eat the Iron Hammer Squad, you have to see if your teeth are good enough. Be careful not to break your teeth. I have long heard that Iron Hammer battle team's captain, Flowing Iron, is a stubborn man. Today, I finally get to see it for myself," a young man with 2 horns on his head said with a disdainful smile. "Ha ha ha." The other members of the Devil Spear team laughed wantonly. The stone statue Heavenly King said with ill intentions, "Our Devil Spear battle team never returns empty-handed, but I can also give you a chance to choose. It depends on whether you can grasp it or not." "Opportunity? Tell me." Liu Tai's face darkened. The stone statue Heavenly King stretched out a finger. "1, no need to say anything. Everyone, let's fight. My Demon Spear battle team has a 90% chance of annihilating all of you. If you don't believe me, you can try." The Flowing Iron battle team was silent. It was obvious that they didn't have the confidence to defeat the Magic Spear battle team. Whether they had the strength or not wasn't something that could be said. It was something that could only be achieved through fighting. In the primary hunting battlefield, the Magic Spear battle team had almost no opponents other than a few natural enemies. 2, hand over 2 people for us to kill, and the rest can leave. "Alright, you guys can choose." The Heavenly Stone Statue King sneered. Liu Tai took a deep breath. His eyes were filled with anger as he said, "Dream on. If you want to fight, let's fight. Do you think I don't know that you have no intention of letting us go?" If they handed over 2 people, they would only be left with 3 people. They would be even more unable to contend against the Devil Spear Squad. This way, the Devil Spear Squad would be able to deal with them effortlessly. It's truly a pity. Originally, the 3 of you would have been able to live a bit longer. The Heavenly King Stone statue shook his head. He raised his palm high and waved it. "Kill, kill, kill." 4 streaks of light rushed out and attacked the Iron Hammer battle team. "All hail the god of barbarians. Fight with all your might." Liu Tai roared as he raised his mace and rushed out as well. The great battle erupted and instantly entered a white-hot state. "They're fighting. Full speed ahead." Millions of miles away, Yi Chen's eyes flashed coldly as he shouted in a low voice. Whoosh! As soon as he finished speaking, he was the first to fly towards the battlefield. "We will definitely succeed in our revenge this time. Let's go." Huang Hengfei and the other 3's hearts were racing. At the same time, they were filled with excitement and excitement. They had never thought of killing the Devil Spear Squad, but this time, they might succeed. The 5 of them were extremely fast. They could fly hundreds of thousands of miles in a single breath. Millions of miles wasn't very far. 8 million miles. 5 million miles. 3 million miles. 1 million miles. 500,000 miles. Soon, the 5 of them were less than 500,000 miles away from the battlefield. Oh no, another team is coming. Damn it. Just as the heavenly stone statue king was about to join the battle, he suddenly turned his head and looked at the starry sky. In his sight, 5 figures were flying towards him. Flying Spirit Squad, you are courting death. The heavenly stone statue king's body shone with a grayish-white luster, making him look like a stone statue. Outside his body, a grayish-white light shield appeared. He was already prepared for a fierce battle, and his killing intent was soaring. Heavenly stone statue king, you didn't expect this day, did you? Before he arrived, Huang Hengfei's voice was already transmitted over with the help of his quintessential essence. Flying Spirit King, do you really think that your puny Flying Spirit Squad can compete with our Devil Spear Squad? The heavenly stone statue king's face was very ugly. Although he didn't think that the Flying Spirit Squad could bring any danger to them, at least there would be some variables. This was not what he liked. He liked to control the overall situation. Huang Hengfei sneered, my Flying Spirit Squad is indeed not a match for the Devil Spear Squad, but your enemies are not just us. Flowing Iron, how about our 2 squads work together to annihilate the Devil Spear Squad? That's perfect. Flying Spirit King, this time, my Iron Hammer Squad owes you a favor. We will definitely repay it in the future. The members of Flowing Iron and Iron Hammer Squad were overjoyed. Originally, if the Flying Spirit Squad didn't show up, the possibility of them dying was as high as 90%. But now, it was different. With the 2 squads working together, even the Devil Spear Squad wouldn't be able to bear the consequences. We can talk about the favor later. Right now, we only have one goal, and that is to annihilate the Devil Spear Squad. As he spoke, Huang Hengfei took out his big iron hammer and flew towards the battlefield, intending to help the Iron Hammer Squad. Stay here. The heavenly stone statue king roared angrily and flashed in front of Huang Hengfei. Your opponent is me. With a flash of sword light, Yi Chen appeared instantly and slashed at the heavenly stone statue king. Bang! Chi exploded, and the heavenly stone statue king was caught off guard and was sent flying. Holding the dragon spring sword in his hand, Yi Chen said to Huang Hengfei and the other 3, you guys go help the Iron Hammer Squad. Leave the heavenly stone statue king to me. He could tell that the heavenly stone statue king was very powerful. If he didn't stop him, the Flying Spirit Squad and the Iron Hammer Squad would probably only be able to contend with the Devil Spear Squad. Alright, I'll leave it to you. Huang Hengfei and the other 3 entered the battlefield without any obstructions. With the help of the Flying Spirit Squad, the Iron Hammer Squad instantly relaxed. After all, no matter how powerful the Devil Spear Squad was, there were only 4 of them left without the Heavenly Stone Statue King. If 9 of them still couldn't contend against 4 of them, they might as well find a piece of tofu and kill themselves. You guys are too optimistic. I, the silver-horned giant demon king, am not someone you can defeat. The horned young demons shouted loudly. His body rapidly expanded, growing from 2 meters tall to 5 meters tall. His berserk magic power was like a raging sea, surging violently. His magic power reserve was more than 10 times that of the other members of the Devil Spear Squad. Even the Heavenly Stone Statue King couldn't compare to him in terms of magic power reserve. What? It's the giant demon clan. Huang Hengfei narrowed his eyes. Demons were a general term. There were many subraces, such as the Flower Demons, the Demon Beast Clan, the Eagle Demons, and so on. The Giant Demons were a very powerful subrace among the demons. The Giant Demons were born with extraordinary strength. At the same realm, the Giant Demons could fight against many. Their magic power reserve was even more astonishing, more than 10 times that of the demons of the same realm. Flowing Iron, let's work together. Huang Hengfei felt that he wasn't a match for the silver-horned giant demon king. That's what I was thinking. Flowing Iron's weapon was a mace, while Huang Hengfei's weapon was a big iron hammer. Both of them had very violent attacks. Only the 2 of them could deal with the silver-horned giant demon king. However, The silver-horned giant demon king's strength was clearly beyond their imagination. Even though it was 1 against 2, it still attacked more than it defended. The burst of powerful magic power made them feel very uncomfortable. Giant demons. Yi Chen also saw the situation over here. The troll emperor he killed was from the giant demon clan. His magic power was extremely dense and almost endless. He didn't expect to meet another giant demons here. Hehe, you guys didn't expect this, right? Last time, my magic spear battle team lost 2 members, but this time, our new members are stronger than before. Especially this silver-horned giant demon king, he's not much weaker than me. He alone can fight against a few of you. The stone statue Heavenly King sneered. As long as we get rid of you, the others are nothing to worry about. Yi Chen said indifferently. Haha, this is the funniest joke I've ever heard. Although my magic spear battle team isn't the strongest in the primary hunting battlefield, in terms of individual strength, I, the stone statue Heavenly King, can at least rank in the top 3. You want to get rid of me? Dream on. The stone statue Heavenly King first laughed, then said eerily, but I have the same idea as you. After I get rid of you, I'll get rid of the Flying Spirit battle team and the Iron Hammer battle team. Thinking about it, getting rid of these 2 teams will definitely bring us a lot of money. Heaven Absolute Sword. Yi Chen didn't waste time talking to the stone statue Heavenly King. He immediately used the Heaven Absolute Sword, which was more powerful than merciless water and fire. The blurry sword light instantly ignored the distance between them and heavily slashed at the stone statue Heavenly King's protective demonic chi. The stone statue Heavenly King was already prepared. He crossed his arms and blocked the sword. Clang! Sparks flew everywhere. The protective demonic chi was forcibly cut open, and the sharp sword light poured out with irresistible force. What? The stone statue Heavenly King felt his arms tremble, and his bones were about to break. The next moment, he was sent flying, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Stone statue Heavenly King, you're only SOSO. Yi Chen followed closely, and the Heaven Absolute Sword was used again. Don't look down on me. The stone statue Heavenly King roared, and he spat out a vast grey air current. This grey air current looked very heavy, as if it could crush a mountain. Once it was spat out, it covered the heaven and earth, and engulfed Yi Chen. Crack, crack. In an instant, Yi Chen's entire body was petrified, and he became a stone statue. My petrification talent can petrify anything. Die. The stone statue Heavenly King seized the opportunity and punched at Yi Chen. As long as this punch hit, Yi Chen would definitely be smashed to pieces. White Dragon destroys the world. However, the next moment, the stone layer on Yi Chen's skin cracked. It turned out that Yi Chen's protective sword will had blocked the petrification power, and it couldn't enter his body. Swinging his sword, Yi Chen used the White Dragon destroys the world, which he had created recently. A white dragon swooped down, and it bombarded the stone statue Heavenly King's body. Chapter 1092. Boom. Boom. The sound of explosions rang out continuously. The white dragon formed from sword chi possessed astonishing destructive power. The stone statue Heavenly King was sent flying into the air. Not only did its protective mana shatter, but the stone defensive layer on its skin also cracked. The disintegrating white dragon transformed into countless white sword chi that invaded through the cracks, destroying everything in its path. How could this be? The stone Heavenly King tried its best to use its mana to resist the white sword chi invading its body. However, the white sword chi was 10 times more terrifying than it had imagined. Not only was it incomparably sharp, but it would also explode when it encountered obstacles. Self-petrification. The stone Heavenly King wasn't an ordinary person. At the crucial moment, it used its petrification talent on itself, turning into a stone statue. The next moment, the stone statue shattered, and a meatball flew out. That meatball was a part of the stone Heavenly King's body, the part that hadn't been corroded by the sword chi. The meatball expanded, and the stone Heavenly King reformed its body. It actually destroyed 10% of my mana. And this is because I reacted quickly and petrified myself in time, giving up on being corroded by the sword chi. The stone Heavenly King's pupils shrank to a point. It was extremely wary of Yi Chen. An ordinary swordsman's sword chi also had the ability to annihilate, but it wasn't obvious. It was just a bit sharper. Yi Chen's sword chi was not only sharp, but it would also explode when it encountered obstacles. If his guess was correct, this move contained the opposing water profound and fire profound. Self-petrification, not bad. Yi Chen understood the effect of White Dragon extinguishes the world very well. Compared to merciless water and fire, White Dragon extinguishes the world had entered the microscopic realm. Even a trace of sword chi would be extremely terrifying. When it invaded the opponent's body, it would cause great destruction. Merciless water and fire couldn't be so detailed. It did have the destructive power, but it was much weaker in terms of details. I admit that I have underestimated you, but this is the end. The stone Heavenly King took a deep breath and instantly entered the Anatta realm. A layer of silver appeared on the surface of his stone skin, and his pupils also turned silver. This was the deeper use of the Anatta body. At the same time, a set of stone armor appeared on his body. This was the high-level use of the petrification talent, petrification armor. Not only could it block part of the damage, but it could also absorb it. It had the same effect as a 6th-grade spirit body. Shio. After entering the Anatta state, the stone statue king's speed increased greatly. A silver-gray light flashed, and it instantly appeared in front of Yi Chen, punching out. This punch contained the power of petrification, and once it hit, it could petrify anyone from the inside out. It was no small matter, and even if the enemy could block it, they would be corroded by the power of petrification. However, the moment he got close to Yi Chen, a mysterious power spread out with Yi Chen as the center. He clearly felt that his speed had slowed down by more than 10 times, as if he was moving in slow motion. The feeling was extremely uncomfortable, and he couldn't use his strength. Profound weight domain. Not daring to be careless, the Heavenly Stone Statue King released its unique domain, heavy domain. The mysterious gravity field contained a gravitational force, which was at least 1/10 of that of a normal white dwarf star. If it were a king warrior of the first or second sky of life and death realm, he or she would have been crushed into pieces the moment they entered the mysterious gravity field. However, in front of Yi Chen's sword realm, it could only slightly resist. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Yi Chen waved out 3 sword strikes in a row, each one a white dragon destroyer. Boom! Boom! The Heavenly Stone Statue King was blown back, and the petrified armor on its body cracked. It's the space stop power. No wonder you're so arrogant. The Heavenly Stone Statue King was extremely annoyed. If Yi Chen didn't have the space stop power, he would have some confidence in exhausting him to death. But now, he couldn't do anything to the latter, and he couldn't even get close to Yi Chen. What's your name? Perhaps we can work together. As long as Flying Spirit Battle Team gives up on helping Iron Hammer Battle Team, I can give you 500,000 yuan stones. As far as he was concerned, Yi Chen was so powerful that he definitely had the right to speak in the Flying Spirit Battle Team. 500,000 yuan stones? What? You carry yuan stones with you? Entering the hunting battlefield, life and death were unpredictable. Therefore, the majority of people wouldn't carry any valuables, only empty storage rings. You don't have to worry about this. As long as you agree, I will pay you immediately. But, you have to tell your battle team members to leave this place first. 500,000 yuan stones, don't you think it's too little? Yi Chen sneered. 500,000 yuan stones is indeed not much, but you have to understand that even if we continue to fight, we might not necessarily lose. These 500,000 yuan stones are completely free for you. The Heavenly Stone Statue King had decided to numb Yi Chen first, then gather the strength of the team and take care of him in one fell swoop. If he had to blame someone, he could only blame himself for being too greedy and not knowing when to retreat. That might not be the case. Moreover, after killing you, I can also get 500,000 yuan stones. As he spoke, 3 different colored flowers appeared above Yi Chen's head. As soon as these 3 flowers appeared, Yi Chen's essence, qi, and spirit immediately multiplied, and a divine light shot out from his eyes. 3 flowers borrowing Dao. Battle power multiplied. Die. It was the same white dragon destroyer, but this time, a white halo appeared on the white dragon's body. With a flash, it attacked the heavenly stone statue king's body. Rumble. A sky-shaking sound exploded, and the heavenly stone statue king's entire body was submerged in the white light. Ah, damn it. The heavenly stone statue king was like a trapped beast. Both of his hands crazily waved, leaving a grey streak in the air. The white light seemed to have traces of being torn apart. Primordial spirit lock. There was no way Yi Chen would give the heavenly stone statue king a second chance. A golden light flashed between his eyebrows, and a golden halo flew out, disappearing into the white light. No. The heavenly stone statue king screamed, as if it had suffered a serious injury. A cold light flashed in Yi Chen's eyes, and he attacked with another white dragon destroyer. Pop! This time, the white dragon completely shattered the heavenly stone statue king's body, and the other party's voice came to an abrupt stop. What? The captain is dead. Impossible. How could the captain die? In terms of individual strength, the captain is at least ranked in the top few in the elementary hunting battlefield. Even if the captain is not a match for the other party, he should at least be able to escape. With the death of the heavenly stone statue king, the other members of the Devil Spear battle team panicked. Since Yi Chen could kill the heavenly stone statue king, he could definitely kill any one of them. In addition, they were outnumbered, and the gap between them was even greater. Run! The silver-horned giant Devil King was the first to escape. He shook off Huang Hengfei and Liu Tai, and fled into the distance. Where are you going? Although the silver-horned giant Devil King had shaken off Huang Hengfei and Liu Tai, Yi Chen still had his eyes on him. The distance between the two continued to decrease. You can't kill me. I'm a genius of demons. I can't die. The silver-horned giant Devil King was filled with fear as he roared. The heavenly stone statue king is already dead. If you don't go down to accompany him, that would be too much. In that instant, the sword domain covered the other party. Yi Chen first used a sky absolute sword attack to cut open his defense, then threw out a white dragon destroyer slash. I can't accept this. The silver-horned giant Devil King was a bit weaker than the heavenly stone statue king. Under Yi Chen's all-out attack, there was no way he could survive. He fell instantly, and his storage ring was taken over by Yi Chen. After getting the storage ring, Yi Chen didn't even look at it and turned back. Even without Yi Chen, the Flying Spirit battle team and the Iron Hammer battle team had the absolute advantage. The first to die was the Eagle Eye King, followed by the Demon Spear King. Finally, only the Heaven-Devouring Demon King was left. Even if I die, I'll drag you guys down with me. The Heaven-Devouring Demon King was extremely ferocious. He swallowed all the attacks of the 9 and then self-detonated. Boom. It was like a star exploding. The light produced by the self-detonation drowned everyone. Although Yi Chen was far away, he could feel the terrifying power of the self-detonation. His body kept retreating. Finally, the self-detonation light dimmed. Besides Yi Chen, the other 9 were in a sorry state. Some of the closer ones even had their bodies damaged, smoke rising from their bodies. This guy is simply a human-shaped planet. Huang Hengfei muttered. Thank you, Flying Spirit Battle Team, for your help. My Iron Hammer Battle Team will never forget this favor. If there is a chance in the future, we will definitely repay you. But, we still have some matters to attend to, so we'll take our leave first. Liu Tai winked at the other members of the Iron Hammer battle team and shot out. Farewell. The other 4 members of the Iron Hammer battle team also shot out, their speed reaching the limit. What's going on with this Iron Hammer battle team? The Demon Spear battle team has already been annihilated, so why are they running so fast? Li Wei was dumbfounded. Huang Hengfei smiled, they're afraid that we'll wipe them out as well. After all, Yi Chen's strength is too powerful. Even the Stone Statue King and the Silver-Horned Giant Demon King were killed. I see. Wei Yidong suddenly understood. They hadn't thought of this point and couldn't help but sigh at Liu Tai's cautiousness. Everyone said that the barbarian race was thick-skinned, but it seemed like this was not the case. They did the right thing. If it were me, I would also lead my team and leave immediately. Yi Chen smiled. No one would like to have their fate in the hands of others. Haha, Captain, Yi Chen, we actually got 18,000 Shunbi after annihilating the Demon Spear battle team. Looks like the Iron Hammer battle team only got 2,000 Shunbi. Annihilating a team, no matter if they were working with other teams or just their own team, the reward would be doubled. The Demon Spear battle team had 5 members, so each member would get 1,000 Shunbi. 5 people would get 5,000 Shunbi, so double the reward would be 20,000 Shunbi. It's all thanks to Yi Chen. Huang Hengfei couldn't help but sigh at Yi Chen's strength. They were both at the 6th level of the God of War pagoda, but he was much weaker than Yi Chen. Yi Chen probably already had the strength to pass the 6th level. I can't do this without everyone. As he spoke, Yi Chen activated his badge. It showed that he had earned 18,540 Shunbi. His contribution was ridiculously high, reaching 35 Shunbi. His total contribution was less than 50 Shunbi. In other words, out of these 18,540 Shunbi, he could earn about 13,000 Shunbi. This was a huge windfall. One had to know that under normal circumstances, a low-level battle team could only earn a few hundred Shunbi per hunt. 4 hunts a year would only earn 1 or 2,000 Shunbi. Huff. Yi Chen let out a deep breath. He could already see his strength improving by leaps and bounds. With so many Shunbi, what was there to worry about? Chapter 1093. They were not allowed to stay in the hunting grounds for more than a week. Over the next few days, Yi Chen's team hunted a large number of divine worms and earned 19,500 divine coins. By the end of the last day, they had earned 20,000 divine coins. Including 10% of the team reward, it was 22,000 divine coins. It was a huge harvest. At the entrance of the hunting tower, Yi Chen's team walked out. Haha, let's go have a drink. This feels great. Huang Hengfei's face was flushed red. In this hunt, Yi Chen's contribution was the highest, with 36 points, while his was the second highest, with 5 points. According to the distribution, he would receive 2,200 Shunbi, which was more than his annual income. I'll treat you to 10 bottles of ice and fire 9 heavens each. Yi Chen had earned 15,840 divine coins in total. His income was close to that of a high-level member. It's your turn to treat. You're a tycoon. Li Wei giggled. After drinking for half a day, the 5 separated and went about their own business. On the way, Yi Chen met Lu Wenxiu. She told him that Arju had reached the 5th level of the God of War pagoda and had become a member of the Fierce Wind battle team 3 days ago. Although the Fierce Wind battle team was not as strong as the Flying Spirit battle team, it was still one of the top 6 battle teams in the Paradise of Gods. Their leader was not much weaker than Huang Hengfei. Looks like Arju's spear arts have reached a certain level. Yi Chen was not surprised at all. Arju's martial arts phantom would become stronger with every additional martial art. His potential was huge. The path of cultivation was about relaxation and tension. After resting for 3 days, Yi Chen began to cultivate. The first to cultivate was naturally the White Dragon Annihilation. A martial art that contained 2 profound meanings could reach the level of the Sky Extinction Sword, which was already the limit. There was not much room for improvement. However, the White Dragon Annihilation was different. It contained the profound meanings of water and fire. Water and fire opposed each other, so there was still a lot of room for improvement. As Yi Chen was already a mid-level member, he only needed to pay 70 divine coins to cultivate on the 3rd level of the Martial Technique Pagoda, 30 less than ordinary members. 4 days had passed, and Yi Chen had once again raised his White Dragon Annihilation to a whole new level. It had almost reached the limits of the water and fire profound meanings. In the 3rd floor of the Martial Skill Tower, cultivating martial arts was 100 times more effective than cultivating in the outside world. 4 days was equivalent to 400 days, which was more than a year. To Yi Chen, 1 year was more effective than 2 or 3 years for others. White Dragon, destroy the world. With a swing of the sword, the white dragon was like a dragon that could destroy the world. Everywhere it went, everything exploded and was annihilated. It was a scene of doomsday that ordinary martial arts would not be able to achieve. It's finally done. Letting out a long breath, Yi Chen felt as if a huge burden had been lifted from his shoulders. The current white dragon annihilating the world was several times stronger than it was 4 days ago. Even if the heavenly stone statue king came back to life, it would not be able to block this sword. It would die in an instant. This sword was almost the limit of a second revolution martial art. As for the second transition martial arts, it was the grade of profound sense martial arts. Martial arts that contained a type of profoundness were considered as first transition martial arts. It was a second grade martial art that contained 2 types of martial arts. Martial arts that contained 3 types were rank 3 martial arts. So on and so forth. Of course, in a battle between martial artists, it did not mean that a second transition martial art would be more powerful than a first transition martial art, and a third transition martial art would be more powerful than a second transition martial art. For example, although some people had created a second transition martial art, the fusion of the profoundness was not good enough, and they might not be able to compete with those who had used a first transition martial art to the limit. However, in terms of grade, a second transition martial art was naturally many times more powerful than a first transition martial art, and a third transition martial art was many times more powerful than a second transition martial art. As for momentary glory, it was an exception. Among the second transition martial arts, the white dragon annihilating the world is already at the peak, and it is many times more powerful than ordinary second transition martial arts. Do I have to create a third transition martial art that contains 3 types of profoundness? Yi Chen muttered. No, the foundation is not enough. If I create a third transition martial art, it will only be a waste of time. Currently, only the white dragon annihilating the world and Tianju sword are good enough. The other second transition martial arts have not matured yet. Fine. I will use the destruction sword intent as the essence and create some second transition sword move. With the white dragon annihilating the world and Tianju sword, the other second transition sword moves were no longer of much use, but they could be used to prepare for the third transition sword move. With a stronger foundation, everything he did would be as if the gods were helping him. The first to be tested was Autumn Water. Yi Chen wanted to raise its power to a new level. 3 days later, the new Gold Water Profound Sword move was created. However, it was no longer called Autumn Water, but Autumn Kill. Autumn was originally a bleak scene, and autumn represented gold. Therefore, Yi Chen named this sword move Autumn Kill. Autumn Kill used the destruction sword intent as the essence, and it displayed the killing intent of autumn to the extreme. With a swing of the sword, it was like the arrival of autumn, and all living things would inevitably enter their final stage. After autumn, it would be winter with no life. Another week later, a new second transition sword move was created. This time, it was the Wood and Fire Profound Sword move Raging Fire Incinerating Spring. Spring represented wood, and summer represented fire. Blazing Fire Incinerating Spring meant that summer buried spring and used wood to fuel fire, making the fire even stronger. With a swing of the sword aura reached an extreme level. Although it did not have the desolate killing intent of Autumn Kill, it was more violent and powerful. If Blazing Fire Incinerating Spring was already domineering enough, then the Fire and Thunder Profound Sword move, Heavenly Thunder Earthly Fire, which took Yi Chen 10 whole days to create, was even more powerful. Thunder and fire had a lot of similarities. Both could cause all living things to burn. When the two were combined, there was nothing that could not be burned. It also had a strong defense-breaking attribute. If one was hit by this sword, even the undying body would not be able to withstand it. Without the sword intent to protect himself, even Yi Chen did not want to be hit by this sword. Although Yi Chen had 7 consummate profounds, when he combined some of them, the power he could bring out was just passable. The last sword move was the Gold Shadow Profound, Life-Snatching 1000. Life-Snatching 1000 contained the Metal Profound and Shadow Profound. Among the 7 consummate profounds, the shadow profound was weaker than the other profounds in terms of offense. Therefore, it was not suitable to combine with the other profounds. The metal profound was extremely sharp, which could make up for some of the flaws in its offense. Life-snatching 1000 was not as powerful as the other sword moves, but its attacking range was much larger. Once the sword was shot out, thousands of golden lights would appear, making it hard to distinguish the real from the fake. 5 weeks had passed, and Yi Chen now had 6 sword moves, namely White Dragon Exterminating, Sky Absolute Sword, Autumn Kill, Blazing Fire Incinerating Spring, Heavenly Thunder Earthly Fire, and Life-Snatching 1000. In addition, there was Momentary Brilliance, which was not a sword move but could freeze space. Although I don't have the Space Upanishad Tower, I have the Time Tower. I need to upgrade Momentary Brilliance. Among the 7 killing moves, Momentary Brilliance was still one of the best. However, compared to before, it was no longer supreme. At least, the power of White Dragon Exterminating was much more powerful than Momentary Brilliance, and the power of Heaven Absolute Sword was not weaker than Momentary Brilliance. The other killing moves were only slightly weaker. Currently, Momentary Brilliance only had the effect of freezing space, which was a super killing move. However, compared to the other killing moves, Momentary Brilliance had the greatest potential. It contained the space profound, and Yi Chen had only comprehended 70% of it. If he could reach 80% or 90%, the power of Momentary Brilliance would definitely increase by dozens of times. It was not an exaggeration to say that Momentary Brilliance, which only contained the space profound, was much more powerful than a rank 2 martial skill. Once he mastered the space profound, it could even be compared to a rank 3 martial skill. However, obviously, the space profound was too heaven-defying. There was no Space Upanishad Tower in the Paradise of Gods. Therefore, it was impossible to directly improve the space profound. Therefore, he could only start from Momentary Brilliance. By perfecting Momentary Brilliance, he could indirectly comprehend the space profound, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. As for the Time Tower, it had 2 floors in total. On the first floor, 1 day in the outside world was 10 days in the inside world. On the second floor, 1 day in the outside world was 100 days in the inside world. Compared to the Tower of Martial Skills, the Tower of Time was undoubtedly much more advanced. After all, the Tower of Martial Skills could only accelerate the cultivation speed of martial skills. By contrast, the Tower of Time could adjust the ratio of time and improve any aspect. The fee on the first floor of the Time Tower wasn't very high. Ordinary members would have to pay 30 shunbi a day while intermediate members would have to pay 21 shunbi a day. On the second floor, the fee started to skyrocket. Ordinary members would have to pay 500 shunbi a day while intermediate members would have to pay 350 shunbi a day. In the first 5 weeks and 35 days, Yi Chen had spent 2,450 shunbi. He had about 14,000 shunbi left, which was enough for him to stay on the second floor of the Time Tower for over a month. After leaving the Martial Skill Tower, Yi Chen went to the Time Tower. On the second floor of the Time Tower, Yi Chen constantly practiced Momentary Brilliance and sensed the mysteries of space. As days passed by, Momentary Brilliance made remarkable progress. 300 days in the second floor of the Tower of Time were equal to 3 days in the outside world. Although the power of Momentary Brilliance only increased by 2 times, its range had reached 15,000 m. Within 15,000 m, the moment Momentary Brilliance appeared, everything would be still. 1,000 days on the second floor of the Time Tower were equivalent to 10 days in the outside world. Yi Chen's space ultimacy had finally reached 80%. The brilliant Momentary Brilliance with 80% of space power Upanishad bloomed with a radiance that eclipsed the other killing techniques. The range of its sword aura had reached 100,000 jong, which was around 600 to 700 miles. Its attack power had increased tenfold, which was several times stronger than the White Dragon destroying the world. In the past, Momentary Glory could only be used in close combat. The range of 3,000 jong was too small. As long as the enemy was careful and kept their distance from him, Momentary Glory would not be of much use. Unless the enemy's speed was much lower than his, he would be able to force the enemy into close combat. But now, it was different. The range of 1,000 jong still did not seem very big, but the improvement was not just a little bit. 1,500 days on the second floor of the Time Tower were equivalent to 15 days in the outside world. Yi Chen made persistent efforts to expand the range of momentary brilliance to 150,000 m, namely 500 miles. I'm almost at the bottom. It's just a waste of time. Yi Chen didn't waste any more time on momentary brilliance. He stopped cultivating. After all, good steel should be used on the edge of the blade. No matter how many shunbi he had, he couldn't afford to squander like this. He had spent over 5,000 shunbi in 15 days. Chapter 1094. Next, Yi Chen focused his mind on Jinyuan cultivation. Although martial arts were important in life and death realm, it was not something that could be improved just because one wanted to. Jinyuan cultivation was the most important. Although Yi Chen's strength had increased by several folds, he was still lacking when facing some powerful 6th layer life and death realm heavenly kings. Advancing from the 6th layer to the 7th layer was a huge hurdle. In order to advance to the 7th layer, one had to condense the Emperor's Mark. If one failed to condense the Emperor's Mark, it would be useless no matter how many years of bitter cultivation. Therefore, there were simply too many experts stuck at the 6th layer, and their strength was also uneven. The gap between the bottom and the peak was definitely dozens of folds. If 6th layer life and death realm heavenly kings were divided into grades, then Yi Chen would only be in the 4th or 5th layer. Above him were the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd layers. And the best way to increase one's strength was to increase one's cultivation base. Yi Chen's current cultivation base was only at the 4th layer. Once he reached the 5th layer, he would naturally surpass the 4th or 5th layer and enter the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd layers, which was much better than creating martial arts. Under normal circumstances, Yi Chen had just reached the 4th sky of life and death realm, and if he wanted to break through to the 5th sky, he would need at least 5 years, or even 10 years. If he wanted to build a solid foundation, even 20 years would not be too much. It had nothing to do with the comprehensive ability, and it did not have to do with the talent either. It was a process of grinding an iron bar into a needle, and it was the accumulation of the foundation. Fortunately, with the Time Tower, Yi Chen could reduce the time by 100 folds. 20 years could be reduced to 2 or 3 months. Of course, this was only him. There was still a gap between people. Yi Chen was naturally limited in true spirit world. The reason why he could catch up was because his foundation was rising too quickly. He was accumulating every day, and every day was a new self. Others couldn't do the same. Time passed quickly, and the second hunt ended. The harvest of this hunt wasn't as big as the first one. After all, it was impossible to annihilate the enemy paradise teams every time. Sometimes, luck was needed. However, it wasn't too bad either. The total income from the second hunt was 7,000 divine coins, and Yi Chen got a little more than half of it, which was 3,800 divine coins. In the third hunt, the Flying Spirit battle team created another miracle, annihilating another Demon Paradise battle team, the Sea Demon battle team. Their total earnings were even higher than the first hunt, reaching 24,000 shunbi. Yi Chen received a total of 17,000 shunbi. In total, Yi Chen had earned close to 40,000 shunbi in the hunting battlefield, and he had only conducted 3 hunts. Of course, no matter how much shunbi he had, it was all moonlight to Yi Chen. The Tower of Time consumed too much divine coins. It was like a bottomless pit. On the second floor of the Tower of Time, a middle-level member would earn 350 divine coins a day, or 10,500 divine coins a month. Therefore, each time Yi Chen made a reward, he could only stay on the second floor for about 1 month. Yi Chen, thank you for choosing to join the Flying Spirit battle team. Thank you. Huang Hengfei sighed with emotions. He really hoped that Yi Chen could stay in the Flying Spirit battle team. With Yi Chen's help, the total earnings of the Flying Spirit battle team were more than 50,000. It was unimaginable. It should be noted that it was already not bad for a beginner team to earn 2,000 divine coins in one hunt, and 6,000 divine coins in 3 hunts. However, as a middle-level member, Yi Chen had to go to the intermediate hunting ground. Of course, Huang Hengfei also sincerely wished Yi Chen to stay in the Flying Spirit Battle Team. If he stayed in the Flying Spirit Battle Team, he would only be a burden to Yi Chen. Yi Chen had a broader stage and could earn more divine coins. The Flying Spirit Battle Team was just his starting point, not his destination. Without you, I couldn't do it alone. You don't have to thank me. Yi Chen shook his head and continued, Lung Feifen is not much weaker than me. With him, the Flying Spirit Battle Team will dominate the beginner hunting ground one day. Lung Feifen had reached the 5th level of the God of War pagoda a month ago. With Yi Chen's help, Lung Feifen had joined the Flying Spirit Battle Team to make up for the lack of members. In Yi Chen's opinion, Lung Feifen was indeed very strong and had great potential. Perhaps he was not good at the spatial profound meaning and could not help the Flying Spirit Battle Team earn a lot of divine coins. His current strength was not very strong either. However, as time passed and the divine coins increased, Lung Feifen would definitely improve greatly. Haha, of course we believe in Lung Feifen. He is also a rare genius in the paradise of gods. The addition of Lung Feifen made Huang Hengfei and the others very happy. It more or less made up for some of their regrets. On a small path in the paradise of gods, Lung Feifen was walking alone. Before joining the Flying Spirit Battle Team, he had considered many things, but in the end, he still agreed. He was not afraid to compare himself with Yi Chen. A sabresman could lose, but he must never be afraid. Because a sabresman was a brave man, and a brave man had no fear. Paradise of Gods Hotel. Welcome to the Frost Battle Team. Huang Fu Yu reached out and shook hands with Yi Chen. It's my honor. Yi Chen sized up Huang Fu Yu and the others and said slowly, did we lose one person? The full number of mid-level battle teams was 6 people. Now, the Frost Battle Team only had 4 people. Of course, including Yi Chen, it was 5 again. The vice-captain of the Frost Battle Team, Hu Lei, said in a low voice, there are many strong teams in the mid-level hunting ground. Except for a few teams, no team can guarantee that they can escape unscathed. In the last hunt, we encountered the Demon Beast Battle Team. Because we were outnumbered, they killed 2 of us. Of course, we also killed one of them. The Demon Beast Battle Team was one of the mid-level teams in the Paradise of Gods. They were all made up of demon beasts. Yi Chen, I heard that you reached the 7th level of the God of War pagoda. Xu Xiao, the member of the Frost Battle Team, asked curiously. Yi Chen nodded. After the first hunt, he had reached the 7th level of the God of War pagoda. However, he was still some distance from the 8th level. The higher the level of the God of War pagoda, the more difficult it was. Yi Chen passed the 6th level in an instant, but the 7th level was almost 10 times more difficult. It would be a little difficult to pass in a short period of time. That's amazing. I have been in the Paradise of Gods for almost 100 years, but I'm still stuck on the 7th level. After receiving Yi Chen's reply, Xu Xiao was very impressed. She had never seen anyone improve so quickly. It had been less than 2 years, and Yi Chen had actually reached the 7th level of the God of War pagoda. I was a little lucky. Yi Chen was not being humble. He could improve so quickly thanks to the profound meaning of space. Without it, his results would not be so brilliant. Luck is also a part of one's strength. I heard that in the elementary hunting grounds, the Flying Spirit Battle Team is feared by many teams. I think it's true. Huang Fu Yu was glad that he had booked Yi Chen in advance. Although there were not as many teams in the elementary hunting grounds as there were in the intermediate hunting grounds, there were still quite a few. The Flying Spirit Battle Team could at most be ranked in the top 15. However, Yi Chen had actually made the Flying Spirit Battle Team one of the kings of the elementary hunting grounds. In 3 hunts, he had wiped out 2 enemy teams and killed 3 people at once. This kind of result could no longer be described as excellent. It was glorious. Come, let's wish our first hunter success. Huang Fu Yu raised his wine glass. I hope I can earn enough shunbi from this hunt. In 1.5 months, Yi Chen had spent all his shunbi. It could be said that he had earned a lot and spent a lot. In his opinion, the Time Pagoda was really not a place that ordinary people could enter, especially the second level. Therefore, Yi Chen could only pin his hope on the intermediate hunting grounds. In the intermediate hunting grounds, killing one enemy would be worth 1,000 shunbi. In the team hunting, killing one enemy would be worth 12,000 shunbi. If the enemy team was wiped out, it would be 288,000 shunbi. Of course, this was basically impossible. The stronger the enemy was, the harder it was to kill them. Even if they couldn't defeat the enemy, they could still escape. On average, only one team would be wiped out in the intermediate hunting grounds every 5 years. Yi Chen's strength was just ordinary in the Frost Battle team. He couldn't even compare to Huang Fuyu and Hu Lei. Naturally, he couldn't help them wipe out the enemy team. However, even killing 2 or 3 enemies was already a great harvest. In addition to the competition between teams, the harvest of killing mythical insects in the intermediate hunting grounds was also considerable. One mythical insect was worth 200 shunbi. Time passed quickly. The Frost Battle team that Yi Chen was in entered the hunting tower. Their number had increased to 6. They were well prepared. 7 days later, the 6 of them walked out of the hunting tower unscathed. This time, the magical beast battle team finally paid a price. Yi Chen, it's all thanks to your space stop ability. Otherwise, we would have lost 1 or 2 people, and we wouldn't have been able to get so many shunbi. The 6 of them were in a good mood. Although they couldn't wipe out the entire magical beast battle team, they had killed 3 of their members. This was unimaginable. Although Yi Chen's power was only at the 7th level of the God of War Pagoda and was not as powerful as the team leader Huang Fuyu and the deputy leader Hu Lei, he was extremely useful to the team. He had actually surpassed the team leader Huang Fuyu. His instant sword realm could help the others kill their opponents quickly. He was an all-rounder. Hu Lei and Shu Xiao's doubts were also dispelled. Before this, they had actually been worried that Yi Chen wouldn't be able to adapt to the harsh environment of the intermediate hunting grounds. However, they had worried too much. Yi Chen smiled and didn't say anything. In this hunt, he was still in first place, with 20 points. Huang Fuyu was 15 points, Hu Lei was 13 points, and the other 3 added up to 12 points. His total contribution was 60 points. As for the total contribution this time, they had earned 72,600 shunbi. Killing 3 enemies was 36,000 shunbi, killing 150 divine worms was 30,000 shunbi, and adding 10% of the team's reward, it was 72,600 shunbi. According to the contribution distribution, Yi Chen had earned 24,200 shunbi. It seemed to be only 30% to 40% more than in the elementary hunting grounds. However, in the elementary hunting grounds, Yi Chen couldn't wipe out all the enemy teams every time. For example, in the second hunt with the Flying Spirit battle team, he had only earned 7,000 shunbi. The intermediate hunting grounds were much more stable. Perhaps luck had played a part this time, but no matter how bad his luck was, he should have earned at least 5,000 shunbi. This was because Yi Chen's instant sword domain was the nemesis of the divine worms. He could use the divine worms as his biggest source of income. It was even more beneficial than killing enemies. If it weren't for Yi Chen, the total income was estimated to be 20,000 shunbi at most. In the hunting grounds, few teams would tangle with divine worms. Chapter 1095. I'm almost 90% sure to break through to the 5th sky of life and death realm now. On the 2nd floor of the Tower of Time, Yi Chen opened his eyes and let out a long breath. According to the time outside, Yi Chen had stayed on the 2nd floor for more than 3 months, which was about 30 years in the real world. It was a long time. Yi Chen was only in his early 40s. However, he had only been in this world for more than 20 years. Of course, 30 years was not a long time for breaking through to the 5th sky of life and death realm. As for why those geniuses who were only a few years older than Yi Chen could break through to the 5th sky of life and death realm so early, There were several reasons. Firstly, they didn't choose to break through to the fifth sky of life and death realm steadily. Secondly, there were some extremely precious treasures in the universe, which could increase their odds of making a breakthrough. Usually, geniuses at the top of the pyramid would not be in a hurry to break through to the next level. They valued their foundation more than anyone else. For them, foundation meant future. Yi Chen, play with me. On the Thunderbolt Court, Huang Fu Yu was invincible. Over 10 people had been defeated by her. Even the vice-captain Hu Lei couldn't stand her precise bombing. Indeed, it was precise bombing. All right. Yi Chen walked onto the court. You serve first. Huang Fu Yu stretched out her jade-like hand and said. Nodding, Yi Chen held the thunder ball in his left hand and twisted it before throwing it high up into the air. Boom! A beam of yellow light shot out, and a bundle of flame appeared on its surface. The flame was extremely compressed and stuck to the surface of the thunderball, making it look like a small sun, shining with an eye-piercing light. Sun spinning ball. Hey! Sun spinning ball. Sun spinning ball was more than 10 times more powerful than ordinary spinning ball. Commoners couldn't catch it at all. Lowering her center of gravity, Huang Fu Yu abruptly pulled the iron rod upward. At first, the thunderbolt shot out in a parabola. Then, it suddenly quivered and turned into numerous ball shadows that scattered down at an extremely fast speed like laser beams. Heavenly maids scattering flowers. Amazing. It was Yi Chen's first time playing Thunderball with Huang Fu Yu. His opponent's skills were amazing. Although it looked ordinary, it contained dozens of variations of power. Its captain's ultimate move, Heavenly Maiden Scattering Flowers. Thunderball was very popular in the paradise of the gods. Apart from the spinning ball, instant speedball, explosive ball, speedball, and other basic balls, the stronger members all had their own unique skills. For example, Huang Fu Yu's Heavenly Maiden Scattering Flowers was a famous unique skill. Letting out a deep breath, Yi Chen's eyes shone with a divine light that no one could look at directly. Those countless balls seemed to slow down, and their trajectories became clearer. Found it. The real thunderball flickered incessantly, changing its position from time to time. However, Yi Chen quickly captured its trajectory. Before it could change its position, he swung his rod at it. Boom! The explosion of the expanding airflow rang out, and the thunderball flying at high speed towards Huang Fu Yu grew larger and larger, from the size of a fist to the size of a head, and then to the size of a house, blasting towards Huang Fu Yu. Good move. Huang Fu Yu's eyes brightened. She could see that it was not that the thunderball was getting bigger, but that it was constantly changing its position. Because the changing positions were so concentrated, it gave people the illusion that this move was very hard to block. The outside was just a shadow of the thunderball, while the real thunderball was changing its position inside. It could not be seen from the outside, and it was hard to sense it with soul power. Yi Chen's unique skill, gigantic ball. If the ball is bigger, then my iron rod will be bigger too. Huang Fu Yu yelled in a low voice. She held the iron rod with both of her hands and waved it out fiercely. As she waved it, the iron rod expanded rapidly, reaching 5 meters in diameter and 20 meters in length. Looking closely, one could see that this huge iron rod was made up of countless smaller iron rods, similar to Yi Chen's gigantic ball. Boom! Without any suspense, the thunderball was countered back. Captain, watch out! Huang Fu Yu's ability to counter the gigantic ball was within Yi Chen's expectation. Holding his right wrist with his left hand and the iron rod with his right, Yi Chen's body spun half a circle and fiercely hit the thunderball. This time, it was still a gigantic ball, but this time, it was spinning at a high speed. It was like an enlarged version of a spinning ball. Unique skill, gigantic spinning ball. Huang Fu Yu shook her head. It was already very difficult for her to return the gigantic ball, not to mention the spinning gigantic ball. She was sure that even if she managed to catch it, the thunderbolt ball would lose control and fly everywhere, unable to hit Yi Chen. Crackle! The ball landed on the ground like a flower blooming. Countless ball shadows burst forth, their trajectories ever-changing, without any pattern. It's too powerful. I can't even see the trajectory of Huang Fu Yu's Heavenly Maiden Scattering Flowers. Yi Chen's gigantic ball is even more powerful. He has only been in the paradise of gods for 2 years. I didn't expect him to already have his own unique skill and use it to defeat Huang Fu Yu. Huang Fu Yu was definitely famous in the paradise of gods. After all, she had already reached the 8th level of the God of War pagoda, and she was a great beauty. As for those who reached the 9th level, they were all famous people. Of course, Yi Chen was an exception. He had only reached the 7th level of the God of War pagoda, but he was already one of the famous people. Almost everyone knew about him, mainly because his speed of improvement was too shocking. When he first entered, he was also ridiculously strong, directly reaching the 4th level of the God of War pagoda. Yi Chen, given your talent, there is a high chance that you will become a Battle the Arch. Huang Fu Yu sighed. Battle the Arch? Everyone in the spectator stands was stunned when they heard Huang Fu Yu's words. Then, they immediately started discussing. The Paradise of Gods only has 3 battle theatres. Can Yi Chen become the 4th? It's really possible. Think about it, in the past 500 years, how many newcomers have reached the 4th level of the God of War pagoda? You can count them on one hand. Other than that, in terms of improvement speed, Yi Chen is definitely unparalleled. He is the first in the past 500 years, no, in the past thousands and tens of thousands of years. In that case, it is indeed true. After some discussion, everyone realized that Yi Chen indeed had a high chance of becoming a Battle the Arch. Battle the Arch? Yi Chen raised his brows slightly. Entering the 9th level of the God of War pagoda meant that one had the strength of a sub-theach. The so-called sub-theach was almost as strong as the Arch. Anyone below the Arch level was invincible. Entering the 10th level of the God of War pagoda meant that one had the strength of a Battle the Arch. Battle the Arch was not a title, but a general term. It meant that one's strength could rival the Arch. So far, the Paradise of Gods only had 3 battle theatres. It was very difficult to become a Battle the Arch. The God of War pagoda had a total of 10 levels, and each level was harder than the one before. In the early stages, one's strength would increase by several times. In the later stages, one's strength would increase by 10 times or even more than 10 times. Not everyone could even become a sub-theach, let alone a Battle the Arch. There were only slightly more than 30 sub-theaches in the Paradise of Gods. Time passed quickly. Yi Chen's second hunt after joining the Frost Battle Team began. In the intermediate hunting battlefield, the Frost Battle Team met a strong enemy, the Evil Wind Battle Team from the Evil God Paradise. The members of the Evil God Paradise were all from the Evil Spirit race. Although the average battle strength of the Evil Spirit race could not be compared to the demons and yakshas, the Evil Spirit race was the best in terms of unpredictability. 6 against 6, the Frost Battle Team and the Evil Wind Battle Team started fighting. Huang Fu Yu's opponent was the captain of the Evil Wind Battle Team, the Evil Wind King. The Evil Wind King was very fast, and his movement technique was like a ghost. His weapons were 2 swords, one long and one short. He split his attention and used 2 strange sword techniques to attack Huang Fu Yu. Ice the Arch Slash. At this moment, Huang Fu Yu was completely different from the usual Huang Fu Yu. Her hair was very long, extending to her ankles like a waterfall. Her black eyes had turned pure gold, without any impurities. Faint golden light also appeared on her body. The golden light gathered behind her head and formed a golden halo. The highest state of selflessness, selfless the Arch. Catcher. She struck out with her hand, and an icy blue arc of light slashed at the Evil Wind King. What? You've reached the highest state of selflessness? The Evil Wind King was shocked. They were all at the 8th level of the God of War pagoda, but there were still differences in strength. Some people could only last a few breaths on the 8th level of the God of War pagoda before failing, while others could almost pass the 8th level of the God of War pagoda. He, the Evil Wind King, had reached the 8th level of the God of War pagoda a long time ago. He was one of the best at this level. He didn't expect Huang Fu Yu to be much stronger than him. She had even broken through to the highest state of selflessness, selfless the Arch. Yin Wind Howl. Holding the short sword in one hand and the long sword in the other, The evil Wind King twisted his hands. The two arcs of sword chi, one long and one short, intertwined, forming a sinister sword chi tornado that faced the icy blue arc of light. But in the next moment, the sword chi tornado was frozen into a spiral icicle. Yi Chen's opponent was the Phantom Moon King, who specialized in illusions. Kid, don't resist pointlessly. It's your misfortune to have met me, the Phantom Moon King, but it's also your great fortune. The Phantom Moon King was confident, and his eyes shone with a faint light. Facing the confident Phantom Moon King, Yi Chen first released a powerful sword domain, and then used the primordial spirit kill lock on the Phantom Moon King's head. Ah! The careless Phantom Moon King felt pain in his head. He felt as if there were thousands of soldiers and horses galloping in his soul sea. How could he still use illusions? Moment of glory. Without any hesitation, Yi Chen stabbed at the Phantom Moon King. The Phantom Moon King, whose soul was injured and body was suppressed by the sword domain, could only watch as the dragon spring sword stabbed at him. He wanted to struggle, but it was as if he was trapped in a swamp. Not only that, as Yi Chen quickly approached, he discovered that an even more powerful space-stopping power enveloped him, making it difficult for him to even move a finger. No. The Phantom Moon King only had time to roar before his head was pierced by the dragon spring sword. Boom! In the next moment, the Phantom Moon King exploded like a star, turning into a dazzling light and disappearing. With one sword, the Phantom Moon King died. Xu Xiao, let me help you. After taking care of the Phantom Moon King, Yi Chen targeted Xu Xiao's opponent. Okay. Xu Xiao was the weakest in the Ice Frost battle team, and she was in a precarious situation. Her beautiful face was full of sweat. Seeing Yi Chen coming, her face lit up. Chapter 1096. Not good, he killed Fantasy Yin King. How could he be so fast? Xu Xiao's opponent was Evil Fist King. Evil Fist King's fist technique was very powerful. Seeing Yi Chen coming over, he was shocked. Although Fantasy Yin King was slightly weaker than him, it was not that much weaker. Furthermore, she was proficient in illusion techniques. If it was a life and death battle, he might not be her opponent. Captain, Fantasy Yin King is dead. Should we retreat first? Evil Fist King had the intention to retreat and transmitted his voice to Evil Wind King. Evil Wind King's expression was very ugly. Fantasy Yin King's death was out of his expectations, and also caused them to be in a passive position. Retreat. Evil Wind King made a prompt decision and ordered a retreat. Do you think you can escape? Yi Chen did not care about the others. Yi Chen's only target was Evil Fist King. Wang, sword domain was pushed to the limit. Evil Fist King, who had just burst out with speed, slowed down again. It was as if he was carrying an immemorial mountain, extremely strenuous. Not good, this is the 5th layer of sword domain. Evil Fist King's face was filled with fear. His domain was only at the 4th layer, one layer lower than Yi Chen's. Apart from that, Yi Chen's sword domain contained the power of space freezing, greatly increasing the binding power. How could he not be afraid? Captain, save me. Evil Fist King roared. Evil Wind King, who had already flown far away, turned his head back. Seeing Evil Fist King bound by Yi Chen's sword domain, he was incomparably shocked. He hurriedly said, "Friends from Ice Frost battle team, this time, it is my Evil Wind battle team's fault. I can apologize to you. If you can let Evil Fist King go, I, Evil Wind King, promise you that from now on, my Evil Wind battle team will not target your Ice Frost battle team. What do you think? Let Evil Fist King go and win my Evil Wind battle team's friendship. Killing Evil Fist King will only infuriate us, which is not good for anyone." Evil Wind King, scram. Huang Fu, you interrupted Evil Wind King. Pu. In the next moment, Yi Chen and Xu Xiao joined hands to kill Evil Fist King. From beginning to end, there was not a trace of hesitation. Good, very good. Ice Frost battle team, listen well. The next time we meet, it will be your time. I hope you don't regret it. Evil Wind King's face turned ashen. He turned around and quickly left with his team. Yi Chen, well done. Even the wicked wind battle squad was scared away by you. Hu Lei was very excited. The evil wind battle team was not the slightest bit weaker than them, but 2 of their members had been killed. The result of this battle could be said to be glorious. Of course, all of this was brought about by Yi Chen. Yi Chen's Sana sword domain was simply the nightmare of his enemies. Yi Chen, thank you. Xu Xiao wiped the sweat off her forehead as she looked at Yi Chen with admiration in her eyes. There's no need to thank me. I just did what I should have done. As he spoke, Yi Chen activated the badge screen. It showed that his power output was 22, and his total power output was 60. Obviously, although he killed both the King of Fantasy Yin and the Evil Fist King, the credit did not belong to him alone. After all, if there was no one else entangling their respective opponents, he would not have been able to kill the King of Fantasy Yin and the Evil Fist King. Although the Evil Wind Battle Squad has temporarily retreated, we cannot be careless. We have killed 2 of their people. Within 100 million li, they will easily know of our existence. Huang Fu Yu was very steady. Hu Lei nodded, that's right. The Evil Wind battle team is not scary. However, if they join hands with other battle teams, we will be in danger. The most important thing now is to leave this place and increase the distance between us. In the hunting battlefield, the most frightening thing was to be surrounded by 2 battle teams. Once such a situation occurred, they would definitely suffer heavy losses, or even be completely annihilated. 7 days' time was very short. Seeing that there was only half a day left before they would leave the hunting battlefield, a huge stroke of luck fell on the 6 members of the Ice Frost battle team. It's a swarm of divine insects. Looks like our luck is at its peak. Looking at the dense swarm of divine insects not far away, everyone was not surprised, but delighted. Usually, when they encountered so many divine insects, they would immediately run away. But now, they did not need to run at all. Yi Chen's space freeze ability was the nemesis of all divine insects. Without a domain, facing Yi Chen, only death awaited them. They had no power to fight back. The 6 of them were like tigers coming down from the mountain. They rushed into the swarm of divine insects and started a massacre. Half a cup of tea's time passed, and the swarm of divine insects was completely annihilated. A total of 210 divine insects. Adding the divine insects we killed in the past 7 days, we killed a total of 330 divine insects. Exhaling heavily, Hu Lei said excitedly. In this hunt, they had killed 2 enemies and 330 divine insects. 2 enemies gave them 24,000 divine coins, and 330 divine insects gave them 66,000 divine coins, which added up to 90,000 divine coins. Adding the 10% of team rewards, their total income was 99,000 divine coins, close to 100,000 divine coins. Yi Chen contributed the most, 30 divine coins, accounting for half of the team. He could get 49,500 divine coins, which was enough for him to cultivate on the 2nd floor for 4 months. Huang Fu Yu was still the 2nd, contributing 12 divine coins, which gave her about 20,000 divine coins. Hu Lei was the 3rd, contributing 8 divine coins. The other 3 only added up to 10 divine coins, but it was not low either. Each of them could get 5 to 6,000 divine coins, which was far more than before. After leaving the hunting tower, Yi Chen directly headed for the Tower of Time. This time, he wanted to break through to the 5th layer of life and death realm. In the blink of an eye, a month passed. Finally, I have 100% confidence. Breaking through to the next realm was no small matter. If the Dao Gate collapsed, the losses would outweigh the gains. Perhaps, one's realm would drop from the 4th layer of life and death realm to the 3rd layer, 2nd layer, or even back to the initial state. This was no joke. If one's realm dropped, it would take at least a year and a half to regain it. In the next hunt, one would most likely die miserably in the hunting field. Therefore, everyone could still try their luck outside. After all, if one's realm dropped, they could just cultivate again. As long as they had enough yuan stones, this was not a problem. However, inside the god's paradise, no one dared to break through to the next realm without sufficient preparation. As for how to determine whether one was confident or not, it naturally depended on the sturdiness of the Tao gate. The sturdier the Tao gate, the more confident one would be. In order to strengthen the Tao gate, one could only refine it with Zhen Yuan. This was a long process, and had little to do with talent and perception. What mattered was the grade of the cultivation technique. The higher the grade of the cultivation technique, the purer and more powerful the Zhen Yuan would be. Naturally, the speed of refining the Tao gate would be faster. Others would need dozens of years, but one would only need half the time or even less. After cultivating for a total of 4 to 5 months in the second floor of the Time Tower, which was equivalent to 40 years in the outside world, Yi Chen finally had a 100% chance of breaking through to the 5th level of life and death realm. Not only that, during this extremely long period of time, Yi Chen's Green Lotus sword spell had also improved, from the original mid-level of Heaven Realm to the high level of Heaven Realm. Along with the improvement of the Green Lotus sword arts, Yi Chen discovered that his Zhen Yuan had started to develop in the direction of Sword Yuan. It should be known that Sword Yuan was several times more powerful than ordinary Zhen Yuan. Only people with sword bodies could nurture Sword Yuan within their bodies, such as Battle King Elysium's Platinum Sword Body and Copper Sword King's Bronze Sword Body. Although Yi Chen had not broken through to the next realm, his strength had already improved by a lot. The Green Lotus sword arts had made his Zhen Yuan purer and more powerful, as sharp as a blade. Another day passed, and 100 days passed in the outside world. Yi Chen walked out of the Tower of Time. One could see that the Zhen Yuan aura on his body was several times more powerful than before. His entire body was like a peerless sword, capable of slicing through anything with a wave of his hand. The 5th layer of life and death realm is even more powerful than I imagined. My strength has increased by at least 3 to 4 times. Tightly clenching his fist, Yi Chen's Zhen Yuan surged as he punched out. Streaks of sword light shot out like 10,000 arrows, creating a frightening momentum. However, the consumption of Yuan stones is too much. This time, I've spent a total of 200,000 Yuan stones. Life and Death Realm had 9 layers. With each layer, one's Zhen Yuan had to be purified. This purification process was extremely harsh. After 100% of Zhen Yuan had been purified, only 30 to 40% would remain. Therefore, one's Zhen Yuan was definitely not enough to break through to the next realm, and required a large amount of Yuan stones. As for refining the Yuan Qi of heaven and earth, it was like pouring a cup of water on a burning cart of firewood. Not in a hurry to challenge the God of War pagoda, Yi Chen headed for the Thunderbolt Stadium. Today, there were many spectators in the Thunderbolt Stadium. At a rough glance, there were at least 200 people. Ajiu, Leng Feifen, and the other newcomers were present, as well as Huang Fu Yu and the others from the Ice Frost battle team. Yi Chen, sit here. Huang Fu Yu beckoned to Yi Chen. Nodding, Yi Chen walked over and sat to Huang Fu Yu's left. There are quite a lot of people today. Yi Chen asked curiously. Hu Lei turned his head and explained, I don't know what's going on today, but these high-ranking members are all here playing Thunderbolt Ball. In the past, they were always elusive. Reaching the 9th floor of the God of War pagoda or the 8th floor of the Survival pagoda allowed one to become a high-ranking member. Therefore, the majority of high-ranking members were quasi-emperors. However, high-ranking members were different from low- and middle-ranking members. High-ranking members only needed to hunt once a year. It was extremely difficult to see them, and it was even more difficult to see them together. There were 2 high-ranking members playing Thunderbolt Ball in the stadium. From their auras, one was a human and the other was a demonic beast. Huang Fu Yu introduced, the one on the left is the Purple Lightning Spear Monarch, a quasi-emperor. The one on the right is the White Tiger King, also a quasi-emperor. However, the White Tiger King has already won 4 consecutive matches. The Purple Lightning Spear Monarch doesn't seem to be a match for him. The White Tiger King's original form was a white tiger. White tigers and giant dragons were beast kings of the same level. Yi Chen sized up the White Tiger King and discovered that he had already reached the Heaven Demonic Realm. The so-called Heaven Demonic Realm was equivalent to the highest level of the Selfless Realm, the Selfless Emperor. Once one reached the heaven demonic realm, it was equivalent to refining all the demonic beast genes in one's body. One would be able to maintain a human form eternally, and one's strength would be unimaginable. A human's body would be able to perfectly unleash the demonic beast's strength. Every time the White Tiger King swung his rod, the thunderbolt ball would shoot out like an explosion. It was many times more powerful than the exploding ball. After a few rounds, the purple lightning spear monarch felt powerless. His arms were sore and numb. The thunderbolt ball he shot out didn't have any power or technique. White Tiger King, I've lost. Laughing bitterly, the purple lightning spear monarch admitted defeat. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.